What a mess. All right,
We're here.
Hello. It says we got 0 watching, but we got people in so many chats right now.
There's so many chats.
I got the whole interwebs covered.
So many chats.
Yeah.
Oh, Pink
So
is
many
in the
chats.
back.
You get a chance.
It's on all the chats.
All the chats.
I got the whole interwebs covered.
So many chats.
What the hell? Which
so many
way should we
chats,
use?
so
This
little
way?
time.
Yeah, let's do this way. There we go.
So you did it this way.
All right, so everybody filter in from all your other chats here that are never going to go live. Come on over. A third chat? Yes, a third chat. All right, so
Game in the thumbs.
so I attempted to I attempted to set it up with GunTube, and it kept giving me an error. I'm not 100% sure what. I don't know if I was doing something wrong or if it's just the software is not, still got some kinks in it or whatever. But I got the chat set up, and then it wouldn't let me go any farther, and it wouldn't let me. And I didn't know how to delete it. And I was like, well, maybe it's not. And then I went to YouTube on my phone. And I was like, okay, I don't even see it. So I must have looked before it actually showed up on YouTube. So I was like, okay, no big deal. I'll just start another one. And then I got stuck with that one too and couldn't go any further. I was like, screw it. Okay, it's getting late. Let me fire up the. So I shut the laptop and got the little guy, helped get the little guy ready for bed. And when I opened up my laptop again, it wouldn't let me do anything. I was like, well, okay, what the hell's going on? It wouldn't let me. I clicked onto Google Chrome to open everything up. And it said I had to do an update, and it wouldn't let me go any further. I'm like, son of a bitch. Now I got to do an update. Are you kidding me? So did the update, waited a little bit, and got this one set up. I had no idea there was other streams even able to, that were sitting there. So I guess I'll have to go in there and I don't know how the hell to get rid of them.
There's 18 streams that are just popping up all over the place.
Yeah. So it is what it is.
Well,
so, I don't
know that GunTube can only do 2 at once, and you did 3, so you automatically overloaded it.
Mm-hmm.
I win. Yeah.
Good job.
Way to go. Way to go. Let's just leave it to a Travis. First,
I broke the gun.
King Travis takes down VidMe, and now this one takes down GunTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got one lodged in the chamber.
I fought the GunTube, and the GunTube won. So I don't know. It is what it is. So either those other streams will fade away into dust like Thanos snapping his finger, or rust away, or something. I don't know. We'll see. So I threw that little Instagram post up to let people know. I did put a thing on to gun channels that we're going to be going live here pretty soon. So I know that Frogface E-Honda is live with Crazy Bastard Frog Chat. I'm not sure what they're talking. What are they talking about today? Do you know?
Probably the contest from last night.
Yeah.
The chat battle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're still crying about it, probably? Yeah. We won. It was so easy to.
You're going crazy.
You know how many times our team dinged in and then G-Webs went to them?
Or how many times that I was just listening, I heard them ding in, and then it'd be like 20, 30 seconds until they answered.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Just ding in, then Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. You can hear it typing in the background. Yeah. Ding in. Oh, okay.
Them damn neckbeards banging in their keys. They're not even trying to be slick about it. Them neards. Oh, damn neards. I had a sous chef one time that his beard grew in like that. We used to make fun of him. He used to call it his neared, which is very fitting. So we'll see. It'd be interesting to know what they're talking about. What are they conspiring about now? I don't know. So who do we got in here? Well, we're all filled up. That's why I was hoping to go live on GunTube, get a bunch of yahoos in the panel again, but just didn't pan out. I guess I'm going to have to take a little bit of time to go through it and see where I made a mistake. At the hit up Night Strike and see if he can figure out what I did wrong. But Glimtech, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. What's happening? Thank you for the invite.
Same old, man.
Had a good turnout today and got some new people out on the range.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you guys have you guys didn't have a rally, you had a shoot, right?
We were doing a shoot. It actually started as a company shoot. For matter of fact, it was Empire Cat. They wanted to do a little get together, and it turned out a little bit bigger, I think, than they expected. So, but yeah, we had actually 3 new shooters today. So we got them introduced into the firearm realm.
Awesome.
So, see how that works out. Just spreading the love around here.
Yeah, man. Uh-oh. Gunpowder still got a little one up. Send Karen out for a meatball sub. Yeah, grab me one too.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, how about it? Obnoxious, what's happening?
Oh, not much. We're here. I think is this the right chat?
I don't know. It's possible.
I don't know.
There's people out there. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah, who's to say what's right and what's wrong?
One of the 18. This may be live. It may not be live. Nope, I'm here. I don't know. What kind of problem are you having with GunTube? Because when I tried to use it the other day, it would say going live, and then it would never go live.
Mine would not. It would. I was putting the stream key in, and it was just taking me to when it was giving me an error code. No. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what's going on.
That's different than what I had then, because I put the stream key in and it'd say going live down at the bottom, and then it would never go live.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It could have been me for sure. You know what I mean? I watched a video, the video he did, and I took some notes, and I followed the notes, and I'm pretty sure I did what I was supposed to do. But I'm kind of brain damaged when it comes to computerification and stuff. So
yeah, Night Strike's fault.
Yeah,
he's not here to defend himself, so it's his fault.
That's a good point. Kingpin, what's happening?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Snarge, what's going down?
Oh, not a lot. I'm actually off this evening because I got school all week. So that's a nice change. That's it. And I recorded some videos, but I am slowly but surely editing them because of my crazy work schedule. But I'm going to start batch creating like Snob suggested. Start batch creating and filming several different videos at once and then getting them out and try to be more consistent.
Mm-hmm. You should just film with multiple cameras and then put out a video from one camera angle and then put out the same video but just from a different camera angle. You really bump up your views. Really bump up your views that way.
There you go. See?
G says he is a $1 co-owner. Let me page this guy at the HQ. Yeah. Yeah. Gee, I'm not 100% sure that I didn't make the mistake, but I'm not sure. No, we'll see. Gizzard, what's going on?
Man, I'm just loving life and enjoying being on one of the many streams that you have going on. So.
Yeah, I know. It's the best one because it's actually going on.
This is best one, yeah, because Obnoxious and Sarge are here, so it's got to be the best one.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go with that.
Absolutely.
Thanks
And
very
I'm
much.
going to flip one of you guys. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to flip one of you guys out real quick and put Bloke in here because Bloke is actually what I want to talk about first. So it's great that he joined in here. Hey, Bloke, how's it going in? How's Australia hanging for you? Or whatever. Where are you? Where are you?
Well, it's down under, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
How you
So
doing?
I'm glad you joined because I wanted to I wanted to talk about you and your fundraiser first off here in the show. I wanted that to be the first thing we talked about because if I do it any more than like half an hour in, people are usually nauseous from the show and they stop watching and they don't pay attention. So why don't you give us a lowdown on what you're doing?
Okay,
And if you have a link, throw it out there in the chat.
sure. All right, so a friend of mine, you guys probably all heard this before. So his daughter ended up in the ICU. Initially, that we thought it was either viral or bacterial, kind of like a meningitis, but it actually did not turn out that. About 2 weeks after she received her diagnoses, and the condition is called transverse myelitis. So basically, your own body attacks your myelin sheath, and what that does is it's your control system from your brain to the rest of your body. It allows you to make movements. So she became completely paralyzed within 3 hours of onset of numb hands. And then over the course of, how long has it been now? About a month and a half, 2 months, I reached out to a couple different companies, and a couple responded. I'm very excited because a company called CGS, suppressor company, agreed to help fund this. So not only did they send me their suppressor to review, they sent me an additional one for this particular endeavor. So I created a YouTube how to win this MOD9. It's a brand new suppressor from them. It's the Kraken predecessor. Since then, since I published that video, how to enter, we had a couple very, very generous people also add in onto this entry. So not only are you going to receive a brand spanking new $900 suppressor, you're also going to get the tax stamp paid. And then additional, last week, somebody contacted us and they are donating, it's called a Scar Armory Class 3 bulletproof vest, brand spanking new with a carrying case worth up to about $500. So each entry is $20 and you can enter as many times as you want. You don't have to put $20 and then submit it, then $20. You can just say, hypothetically, put $100 and then screenshot that and email me, and you'll have 5 entries into it. The drawing is on October 2nd, is when I'm going to do a live drawing on YouTube. And once we receive that, what you'll do is, whoever the winner is, you'll contact me or I'll contact you, and we'll make arrangements to send it to your FFL SOT. And you'll start the process of the paperwork for the tax stamp. But the tax stamp is paid for. And that's about it. So I really appreciate the invite. Hello, everybody on the panel.
Yeah, don't worry about them. They're a bunch of nobodies. No big deal.
So that, and I apologize.
Hello.
I've been really extremely busy. I just got back last night at 1 o'clock in the morning from grad school, so I haven't been around. So my apologies to everybody.
Oh. Hey, I just want to tell you something, Midnight. Did you notice the G found it the other week? The mute and unmute, you can just hit your space bar instead of having to reach down and move your mouse. You just hit to mute and hit it again to unmute. So
yeah, I haven't tried. Yeah.
that's the coolest thing.
So do you have to be muted to start it or no?
Nope.
Just
Nope. See, watch. Here we go. I'm talking. Talking. I'm back to talking again.
Yeah, mine's
It only works if you're on the stream page. if you're over on YouTube messing around in the chat, spacebar just
Yeah. It's only if you're on StreamYard. If you're goofing off in the side window, no, it won't work.
So what do you mean? Because it ain't doing it for me.
Well, click on the mute button once and it should be activated, because if you got a couple screens open, the screen that you're primarily on is the one that the spacebar works.
Yeah. Oh, you don't hold it in. You just click it. You just tap
Toggle it.
Right.
Just toggles.
Oh, look at that. Look at that fancy smancy stuff. Cool.
I thought that would come in handy. People need to know that. That kind of is, instead of searching around with your mouse trying to do it, you can just think.
Gizzard says Alt plus F4 will do the same thing. That's too complicated.
Alt plus F4. That's 2 keys.
No, that's like work.
Yeah. IT guy.
You got
Control
2
Alt
alts.
Delete also works.
Which 2 alts? There's 2 alts. Which one do you use? I mean, that's crazy. Man, Snob's wife's throwing all sorts of hearts out there at you.
She's a sweetheart.
The guy's it's like she's into good-looking guys with a foreign accent or something.
Well, you know, I have an accent, but I wouldn't consider myself good looking. So,
Have you seen anybody on the panel?
they're beautiful men.
Have you seen Snob?
I was wondering why my chat wasn't working, and because I was in the chat from one of your other stupid streams you're not on.
Let's all go over to one of the other chats. Come on.
Jesus.
It's like
Why is
tailgating.
it not scrolling? What are you talking about? I was in the wrong one.
Grab a 6-pack and some nachos. We'll go tailgating over at one of the other chats while we talk on here. like a football game.
That's funny.
That's funny.
So
Yeah, well. Eventually they'll fade off into nothing, maybe. Yeah, so what's going on? We've got a bunch of people out there. We got like 30 watching so far. It's good with a non-conventional start. I can't talk too much crap about that. Noxious and Rupan's out there. We talked about Moo and Gun Loving Grandpa. Pete's out there. Pfeiffer's out there. Seven Wonders is out there. Jorge, how you doing? George Hay, the wife's out there. The other wife's out there. Somebody else's wife's out there. Lots of wives out there.
I know. I'm gonna have to invite my wife.
You should.
I should.
You should. Did she ever watch any of the chats?
I don't
Or did
think.
she catch one of these and she's like, if that's what it's all about, no way.
Well, you know, our child has a condition called FOMO, which is fear of missing out. So he doesn't like to sleep.
Oh, heard that.
So he gets up 2 or 3 times a night still. So she's the one who gets up with him, and I applaud her for doing that, because I am not by any means an individual who can interrupt my sleep once I'm asleep. But she's a trooper when it comes to that.
Yeah, we had a hard time with our little guy too. He would not sleep in his crib. He didn't like to lay flat. So boy, you'd lay him down and either it would wake him right up, or you'd have to prop him up a little bit, or oh my gosh, it was a mess. And he would sleep for a little while, then he'd roll over or something, and that would wake him up. Man, we had a hard time at first.
Yeah, he was colic too as well. So my wife has been an amazing woman when it comes to child raising and being the trooper of the bunch. She's definitely put 110% into this. So.
Yeah.
Ironically, throughout all that dilemma with the colic and FOMO, and she still wants another one. Me, I'm like, heck no, that's it. You know, I want to retire one day. But she's a trooper. She wants another one.
Man, the listing is out there. Barbara's out there. What's going on? Karen's hubby's out there. Oh, hello, Karen's hubby. What do you mean? Oh, she said I slept like a baby. Yeah, on the floor. Yeah, that was great. That was great sleeping beside his crib on the floor like a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we each had our own things to do for sure. I mean, it's how it's supposed to work, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife's a therapist too, so and any milestone that the child almost got or a little bit late, she started freaking out because the pediatric book was out. So Grim 90 said, "I need more children." So altogether I have three. So if I have one more, that would be four. But I have a good analogy of that. So each child, if you have say three, that's 3.333 infinity percent, which is a quarter or just 1/3% that you will not end up in a nursing facility as you get older. So if you have another one, that number reduces to 1/4. Correct?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll be 100% honest with you. Grimm's got so many kids. If you just borrowed one, I doubt he would even realize it. So tell your wife, you know what I mean? If you went over the house and just scooped one up and replaced it with an old boot or something, you could probably get away with it for at least a couple of weeks until your wife is like, holy shit, we got two kids is too much. Take this one back. Then you're good.
Right. Poor conservative says if they're raised properly. I agree. It's most. You got to look at children as a blessing, not a hindrance, and I see that a lot in my trade. People looking at their children like, we have to do this for our children. No, these are your legacy. These are what's going to help survive you. This is your name in your future. You better raise them right.
He says that's why Summer's so quiet. Yeah, it's I'll tell you what. How old is your son?
My son is just about 2. He's
he's still pretty little.
Yeah, 19 months. But I have a quite array of spread. So my oldest one is 19, and my youngest daughter is 12. And then I'm not exactly sure what happened. We had a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my son's he'll be 5 in November, and he's at a funny age, man, because every day he's just spitting out these funny little comments. It's hilarious. He was showing me a dinosaur the other day, T-Rex, and he loves dinosaurs right now, and he'll play with his dinosaurs all the time. But a lot of times he's not really playing with them. He just wants to tell you about them and teach you about them, which is really fun. But he's like, oh, his tail, and he has small arms, and he's a meat eater, and he's got huge feet. And I was like, oh yeah? He's like, yeah, it's kind of his thing. I was like, oh, it's kind of his thing, huh? He's like, yeah, that's kind of his thing. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, kids are great.
We were going to the park the one day a couple weeks ago, and I think I sat down quick to put my order in. It was a Sunday. I have to put my food order in for Monday for the restaurant. And he comes out and he's like, "Are you done yet?" And I was like, "I'm almost done, buddy." He's like, "Come on, big guy, let's go." All right. Big guy, huh? Where'd you hear that one?
Uh-huh. Oh, they're absolute sponges. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The other day I said crap for something. Maybe I don't remember what I did, and he looked at me and he couldn't say the crap, but he said app. He said app.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's when you know that's when you know you got to start watching.
Yeah.
That's it. You're like, uh-oh. Yeah, yeah, he's funny. They're little shadows when they're that, when they're little like that too. You when you go to take the trash out and you hear little footsteps behind you, like, oh, you're coming too. Okay.
Yeah. So chronologically, if you follow a couple different theories or theorists, So they go through what is called like the oral stage, where they stick
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
in their mouth, and
Right.
then they go through this other concept where it's considered it's all about you. So everything that they do is to impress you, and that goes
Right.
on until about 8 or 9, and then that turns around and it becomes all about them for a little while. Then eventually that sequence goes into all about you again, but it takes a little while. But girls and boys are completely different too, though.
Gunpowder says it's all fun and games until a kid busts out with an F-bomb. I can't imagine one of your kids would do that.
Yeah, no. What? Gunpowder kids dropping an F-bomb? No way.
Are you just gonna let that sexism by Midnight? He said girls and boys are different. You're gonna allow that on your show?
I'm just trying to be fair.
He's foreign. It's part of his culture, so we have to.
No, that's actually statistics in the book. You do know I'm a therapist.
All right. So what's going on in the news today? What's happening?
Good God, I don't
All
know.
sorts of stuff, man. I didn't get a chance to. I've been listening to chat, and listening to a lot of
Beto's
current
coming
events.
for your ARs and AKs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm sure.
You
I'm
can't
sure
tell.
Beto will be the first one to stack on that door.
I heard mine are lost. I lost mine already.
If you guys follow NEPA Gun Talk, he's from PA too. I met him at the rallies. He's a funny guy. He did a real short video. It was like a minute and a half the other day, where him and his buddies were out on their boat, and he was like, "Hey, I just came out on the boat here. I thought it'd be really nice out here to come out and clean my guns on the boat." And he's like, Hey Bob, or whatever. And he's like, "Can you hand me that duffel bag with all those guns in it?" And you hear him go, "Oh." He's like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Oh my God, you dropped all my guns off the boat." It's funny.
He did his first live show a little earlier tonight. Him and Bill.
I saw that. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but Bill, that's right. Yeah. I always forget his friend's name. I'm hoping to see them next week.
Napa said he'd be there, but Bill's going to be in New York.
Oh boy, why would you go there? Blech.
That's where he lives.
Oh, that's a shame. You should just move down here. No reason to stay up there. But yeah, the I can't decide whether the Beto thing is ultimately good for us or ultimately bad for us. Because in one instance, the people are saying how it's too out there, it's too big of a stretch, and he shouldn't. The Dems are pissed off at him for doing it and saying it, and he blew their cover or whatnot.
So just an
that's
FYI,
kind of good. Well,
I did see a thing on him a couple months prior to that where he was talking about keeping your ARs.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's the clip they keep showing is him saying, "We're not coming for him. We don't want to take him." And it was a town hall style meeting with a woman, a middle-aged woman in the audience actually, that asked him the question. And he's like, "No, you'll be able to keep, everything. You'll be able to keep." And then they fast forward to this, but so part of it is, I think, in one instance you look at it and it's good because it looks extreme and it's going to get people fired up and it's going to want people to fight against it. But on the other hand, the Democrats seemed hell bent on out lefting each other.
Mm-hmm.
One says one thing and they're like, "Oh, you want this? Well, I'll give you this, and I'm going to promise you this, and I'm going to promise you this." Next thing you know, everything's free. There's no guns. There's no this. There's no wall. That's open borders. They're all trying to out left each other. So that makes me a little bit nervous with him coming out and saying what he said. Is that going to embolden the rest of them to, I mean, Feinstein said it, there's that really sort of quote unquote famous clip of her saying, oh, if I'd have gotten 2 more votes or 10 more votes or however many it was, she's like, Mr. and Mrs., turn in your guns. Is what he said gonna prompt them to be like, all right, you know what? Screw it. Let's get after this. Let's get all after it. I don't know.
I think it's good for us because when they're trying to out left each other, the majority of the country is not that far left. They're just louder. The left is really loud. I think the further left they go, the more of the moderate Democrats are going to leave behind that are just going to be sitting there like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And the old school Southern Democrats and things like that, the further left they go, they're going to have no choice but to vote more conservative because their party left them.
Yeah, it's kind of distinguishing and, setting them apart. When, I believe people who claim democracy or Democrat, these type of issues, they kind of ease into it. I mean, he just flat out said, we're going to come and take it. So I think that's positive because whoever wants to keep their firearms is going to see that guy as that branded name now. He's the gun taker. So I think it gives a clear choice.
Well, did you see him where Joe Biden, when they were talking about healthcare, Joe Biden said, if you like your coverage, you can keep your coverage. He said the same thing that Obama said, and nobody even looked at him twice about it.
Wow.
The wife out there said something that I was actually just about to say. She said, I can't even watch these early debates when half the people aren't a threat. It just pisses me off. We have a lot of people last week and the other debates too. And, whenever anything, the Democrats come out with things, people are like, I can't even watch that. I can't even watch it. I can't even watch it. I think you damn better well watch it. I think it's real important that you watch it. I don't think you can understand, things. I don't trust media enough, and you get these little clips and these little chunks of information, and there's so much spin on things. I think you need to watch it so you can actually hear what they say and what they say and what the context is when they say it, if you can. I mean, I understand, not everybody can watch everything, whatever, but I think it's important to know exactly what people say and what context they said it before you go off all half-cocked, bitching and yelling about something, and you find out.
Him being honest is good for us because he's the only one to gain by being dishonest. And that's what they're mad about. They're mad because he was honest and he let their cat out of the bag. Be honest. Let people make an informed decision. They're trying to deceive people. And at least he said what he wants to do. And now we can move past him and eliminate him from contention, hopefully. That the moderate Democrats will. But we gain by him being honest, I think.
Did anybody watch the the meeting between Ted Cruz and Alyssa Milano? Should watch it.
No, I haven't got to watch that yet.
She's a Fruit Loop. She's hard to watch.
It's interesting because it's hard. Obviously I've never had a kid, lost a child, and it was her and another guy, and I can't remember who it was. And the third person was that came with her was the father of a girl that was killed in Florida. And she was the 33rd out of 35th person shot or something. She was shot in the back. She was running down a hallway and turned to make a left down a hall, and was shot, and she had her spinal cord severed and died. And he was obviously he's one of the more outspoken ones from that shooting. He's been on a lot of interviews and done a lot of press. And if you watch it, when you hear him talking and them talking, it's compelling. It really makes you question, you know what I mean? Question what you think, or what you think is right.
Of course it is. That's their whole plan, is to work
Mhm.
on your feelings.
Absolutely.
Because the facts don't add up.
And Cruz did an all right job. I think he did pretty good. I don't think he was awesome, but he did pretty good. And yeah, somebody said out there she has 2 guns. Yeah, she's a gun owner.
Ted
And
Cruz
that's
can't help but be a politician, though. And
what's that? I didn't
Ted
hear what you said.
Cruz can't help but be a politician. When you're going to sit down with somebody like Alyssa Milano, who's going to bring, people who have went through tragedies and have the heartstrings to tug on, you can't have somebody who is a baby kissing politician giving answers, because they're never going to stand up. They're going to be pushed and pushed and pushed, just like Ted Cruz has been his entire career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I suggest you watch it. It's interesting to hear, and all the talking points that they're all there. All the all the things that people say. And his comebacks about personal defense and all that, that kind of thing. He was pushing background checks. The background check bill that him and some other guy proposed. So I don't know. We don't need to get in. I'm not going to get into it a ton, but I just wanted to bring it up for people to. I think it's a good thing to go watch, for sure. Conservative says you have to remember she's an actress. Yeah, absolutely. But she's an actress with a whatever. I don't know how big of a platform it is, but she's a person. She's got kids of her own. People are going to listen to her,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to matter. It doesn't matter to them that if it wasn't an AR, it was going to be something else. That's just like Beto. Just like Beto said, he's like, if it shoots a bullet that's what did he say? It's intended to shred everything inside you. I'm like, Jesus, that's
rip ammo.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That's that rip ammo.
Yeah, it sounds like like you're shooting some 50 BMG and frangible or something. It just turns you inside out. It's I don't know. It's emotional, and that's one thing that I think. Another thing about what he said. It's not what he said; it's how he said it. He had emotion behind it, and he had, he was passionate. And that's what gets people on your side. He was definitely trying to drum up the bases, the masses. What's going out there in the chat? Snob's wife's leaving. See ya. Say hi to your old man. Where is he anyway?
Andrew Pollock has got a pretty good story too, but you're not going to see CNN and the Democratic Party drag him out. He'll talk on Fox rather than let him talk, but he's got just as dramatic of a story, and he's not trying to remove people's guns from people.
Mm-hmm. Seven Wonders. I liked her when she was a kid. Then she developed, started doing nude shoots, and became a socialist. Yeah, Tony Danza should have straightened her ass out. I'm like, listen here. Listen here. It's enough of that. What else we got in the news other than that nonsense? I usually like to pull up the gun feed, but I didn't get a chance to do that. Oh shit. Gun feed. Trump to announce gun control package this week. What's in it is a mystery. Well, there you go. Oof. Trump's thinking about a phone app for gun sales, background checks. I know you guys were talking about that in somebody else's show, but last night. And that was something that I personally think is a good idea to, you talk about compromise, give a little, take a little kind of thing. Like, all right, you want background checks? Let's keep them anonymous and let them be easier and cheaper to do, and just be a go or a no go for a buy or no buy. No serial numbers, no type of gun, just that you are okay to own and buy. That'd be a good compromise, I think. No way for a registry, no way for them to know what you have or when you bought it. Yeah, C4 Defense. That's my favorite song. Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza.
Yeah, it's the best one ever.
Hanging with Jonathan and some man. Turns out Tony Danza chat's a good way to go. Everybody likes Tony Danza chat.
Everybody likes Tony Danza. Have you seen that show on Netflix where he's an ex-cop and his son's still a cop? I forgot the name of it. Of course, it takes place in New York. I watched the first season of it. It's a series, Netflix only. But anyway, he's typical Tony Danza. He's fantastic. So,
Joe Biden comes out against the Heller ruling. All sorts. And everybody was talking about the Chappelle special on Netflix, and I think it was really good. I think he did a good job. He was more socially topical. He did stuff, all about, current events, current society. I'll tell you what's a really good one too, and what I think is actually funnier and made me laugh more was Bill Burr's new special on Netflix. If you get a chance, it's called Paper Tiger.
He's the funniest human on the planet.
I'll tell you what, people were saying that, it was good, but Chappelle was funnier. I think Bill Burr's, man, I was chuckling listening to it. It was really good. Take some time and listen to it. It's some funny stuff. Vandalistic. So the check would be on the person only, not recording purchase details. Sounds okay. I don't know. I heard Clover, I had talked about it before, and then a couple weeks ago, Clover said something about it, and I think it was similar to that. Or he was talking about just being able to do, a really simple background check for yourself if you were selling privately. And
so
kind of a combination of.
So they're talking about there may be a possibility of being able to do a background check on someone that you're selling a gun to.
That I don't know. I'm not sure I don't think anything's out yet.
Because that's interesting. Because that's when they talk about person-to-person sales. I think that's fine, and I'm all for it. I am, but you're taking a risk if you don't know that person. Because if you sell a gun to a felon, you have committed a crime, and people don't look like felons. I mean, you run into someone you may not know is a felon, and you're gambling. No matter how anyone looks at it, you're gambling on whether you're committing a crime or not. That's why, just me personally, I just take it to my buddy's gun shop and I'll pay the fee. I don't care, just for peace of mind.
I think that's what when the law, the way the laws are written, it's like it says, is there any reason that you would believe the person is not able to own a firearm or something like that? But sure, I mean,
because
there's
I've
a lot
told the
of
story before. Somebody I know sold a gun to someone that was legal to have one, did not know that they were under a domestic violence protective order, didn't know it. And that guy, not long after that, killed his wife and then himself. But when he sold it to the guy, he didn't ask to see a permit. So they came back, and this guy, he lost his career by selling a gun without a permit, which is a $5 permit. It's a misdemeanor, but it was enough to cost him his career. And like I said, did it really matter? No, it didn't. It didn't change anything, but that guy has to bear that and had to change careers because of it. So just for me, I pay the insurance of, hey, I'll just have him do the background check and not worry about it. It's worth $10 to me.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mr. Nas is out there. What's up, brother? Yeah, and that's what people say. If you go on Arms List or whatever, they say only sell to a CCW holder, a permit holder, and that's fine. I mean, obviously, if you have a permit, you've been through whatever background checks. But if you're not, just I don't know. Seems like a neat, nice way to check somebody out and not have it sort of bite you back in the ass, and they know you sold them whatever you sold them. You can't sell an AR. You can't sell an AR privately in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you can in other states. I think in some states you can, right?
Yeah, you can here.
Yeah, you can hear.
Yeah.
Aren't there already background checks that people can do? Like, when you're going to have a contractor come and, redo your bathroom, isn't there already apps that you can do background checks on those? Or are those just like kind of Better Business Bureau kind of deals?
Better Business Bureau is actually a joke.
Well,
Doesn't mean anything.
What's that? Sandy's List or Angie's List or something like that, where you can hire a contractor and they come with background checks.
That's just a private company. That doesn't mean much.
Well, but that's the question that I'm asking. Is that
I've never heard of one
company, or can you find out if someone's a felon that way?
See, I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I think you can.
It's dependent on the state. Here in Florida, you can, felonies and all that are public matters. So you can search for people. The only problem with that is depending on what county they're in. So I'm sure there's I think there is a website, it's like peoplesearch.com or something, but you have to pay for that to see. And it's nationwide too, I think. But to find somebody who has a felon, if they've committed a felony in your county, you go to your public record sites, county clerk, and you can find it that route. See, criminal records are public. Yeah, that's true. In some states, it's not though. I think in Kentucky, I don't think it was able to, because there was an issue that I was looking for and I couldn't find it. It was not public. But if you do that people search, whatever that website is, and pay a fee for that, you can find out general history and any type of misdemeanors or felonies. GWeb says if every 100% of criminals bought their guns from private sales, would it still be okay for the government to decide who can sell to? Well, it's kind of going against the Second Amendment, isn't it?
Well, it's the same thing. What he's getting at is, I believe what G is getting at is that we're putting this on the gun still, and not the person. And he's getting at that it's simply property, and he's not wrong. It's simply property, and the government is telling you who you can and cannot transfer property to.
Yeah, I I agree with that. But it's different when you've got the overhanging penalties for you if you know.
That's the problem, because the government is still putting it on the gun and not on the person who committed the crime with the gun.
Yeah. Let's see what else is on that. Let's see what other articles they have here.
And I know just from the, well, 2 of the 3 states that I've lived in, that in Illinois, you still, if you were selling even to a private, even a person-to-person sale, that person that you're selling to still needed their FOID card, and you had to call the Illinois State Police and get a transaction number. And here in North Carolina, if you're selling a handgun to anybody, they either need their concealed carry license or a pistol purchase permit. So and there's other states with other rules out there. So them going after this universal background check is, that's just a red herring.
A lot of this stuff just doesn't matter, does it? They're just trying to create legislation just to create it when it's going to do no good.
We have to do something.
Yeah, but you actually have to do something constructive.
And this is where G-Web will chime in and say, no, you don't have to do something. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes this stuff is just to make everybody feel good.
Well, it's gonna go against law-abiding gun owners. It's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop one criminal from doing a criminal act. Nope. Glen Tech wants in, so you can bump me out for him if you want, Midnight.
Mm-hmm. What's up, boss?
No, not much. Okay, so we'll address the this universal background crap. We already have it now. What do you think What do you think the background check is? It already is a universal background check. What more do they want to do other than create a registry? That's exactly what it boils down to.
They are hell-bent. They are convinced that private sales are the demise of the country. I think, you know what I mean. I think as they why you look mad, homie? I don't. I'm just tired. I think in as long as there's the ability for anybody to do private sales with any type of gun, they're gonna think that that's it. That's the reason that people are being killed. That's that and ARs and AKs. Those they're going to hammer those as long as they can and as hard as they can.
Yep. And all they have to do is pull up the stats. 0.8% of illegal handgun sales are done through private purchases.
Mm-hmm.
That's 0.8%. I think it's like 1.2% are done at gun shows.
Well, how many? Let's see. So if we just pick the arbitrary number of, it's generally around 30,000 deaths a year from firearms, and 2/3 are suicide. So if we pick 10,000, would that be a number we could deal with?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. And you said what percent?
0.8%.
1, 2, 3 times 0.8%. So even if they eliminated all of the private sales that would be. Oh wait, I didn't do percent. Hold on. Times 0.08%. That would reduce it by the number of firearms deaths by 8.
Okay. Out of 10,000. Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
But that's what I mean. Those 8. That's you got to get those. You got to save those 8 people. You know what I mean? That's what it is. That's it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Now the problem with it is 7 of those 8 are the bad guys that get shot by the cops.
Well, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing. The majority are.
Yeah.
And I might have done that percentage wrong. It might be 80. 0. Is it 0.8%?
It's 0.8. It's 0.08%. 0.08%.
Oh.
0.8%.
0.8%.
Yeah, it was
0.08%.
It's 0.08.
And it says guns used in crime are not the guns sold at shows or private sales. I 100% believe that.
Exactly. So that would be 80 deaths it would reduce out of 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
That is all. I mean, I'm not saying these 80 don't matter, but like you just said, that was a lot of that's criminal on criminal.
Yeah, 0.01%. Yes, you're right, Gizzard. Sorry.
So then you're probably down to actual innocent victims here, just people that were completely innocent is a very small percentage of that 80.
And then I think
Blue Steel said many of those are stolen from cops. He's probably right. If we got rid of cops, probably.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is the path of least resistance. Just because they close off this path, that's just a path of least resistance. It's going to take another path. These things are still going to happen.
Most of your innocent bystanders and gunfire are, once again, one bad guy shooting at another bad guy and just missing and hitting some kid sitting on a porch.
Yes. You know the problem with that? When they miss and hit the kid on the porch, there's a lot of times no one steps forward and does anything. No one saw anything.
Yeah.
Really? That kid didn't deserve that.
And see, that's one other thing that isn't included in their in their little in their numbers game here. They don't include drive-bys.
Well, also one of the things that Cruz did bring up was the people that were not put in jail for gun crimes. You know what I mean? Like, the little slap on the wrist thing. And when people do commit crimes or do things with firearms illegally or own firearms that aren't permitted to own them, he's like, these people should be charged, should be dealt with. And many times they're not, and that's a big deal too. Just tossed out there to do more.
They have enough laws on the books to deal with this stuff already.
If they really cared about gun crime, I mean, look at what happened to the Kate Steinle. They just dropped a bunch of charges against that guy again.
Yeah, they're letting him. Well, he did time served, right, or something like
that.
Yeah, or almost nothing. Yeah, and that's horseshit, man. That whole situation is so sad. Just out there, was San Francisco, right? Or San Diego? San Francisco or San Diego, I think.
Yeah. Or in California where, they're really, really safe because and hard on gun crime, except for when somebody actually commits a crime with a gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's okay. It's so funny that that's not funny. I say it's funny. It's crazy, but that this guy that was deported 5 times, then they're just assuming he's telling the truth when he's saying, "Oh, I picked up a sweatshirt and it had a gun in it. I didn't know it was there, and it just went off." Like, if that happened, if that happened to somebody else that was, an NRA member or whatever, like one of us, not that we're NRA members, but if that happened to one of us, you better believe that it wouldn't have just been like, oh, well, it was, I'm sure it was just an accident, no way. I don't know what's happened to the dude now. I'm sure I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he got deported or not. Probably not, because he's in a sanctuary city. So he was able to come back to the country 5 times.
Is that the one you were talking about that killed the girl?
Yeah.
Because he got all the charges were dropped.
Well, I don't know if he had all the charges dropped.
All the California charges were dropped. The only thing they got all dismissed. The only things that are outstanding right now are potential federal charges.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been filed.
And that's just because they're having to come in and clean up the mess.
It's crazy.
Since California won't do anything, the feds are going to try to do something.
Why do they prevent education that could prevent so many accidents? Yeah. All right, bloke. You wanna plug anything before you go? Anything you want to say before you take off?
Sure. Thanks for the invite. I'm sorry I can't hang. I'm super tired tonight.
Yeah, man. This is a late show, man. I'm used to it. People float in and out. There's many, many, many times I will start with one panel and end with a totally different one.
Yep.
Well, check everybody else out on this channel. It's phenomenal as usual. I appreciate the invite. Go ahead and post the link up there for you to follow the instructions. Just understand that there's an update to the MOD 9 entry. So the tax stamp's going to be paid, and you'll also receive a SCAR Armory Class 3 bulletproof vest and carrying case. $20 per entry, and enter as many times as you want. As of right now, I think there's only maybe 20 people that are entered, and it's October 2nd is the drawing. So head on over to my channel and follow the instructions there. All right, cheers, guys.
$20, right? Or 25?
$20 per entry. I think that's pretty good. It really is. I mean, for you get in.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And honestly,
$1,500.
Honestly, it's crazy. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks for coming in, man. And I hope the little kids, little squirt's doing better. How is she doing, by the way? She's still getting there? Still getting better?
Yeah, so she's out of the ICU now. She's been transferred to a very prestigious hospital that I know very well, currently involved in therapy. She still has issues with postural control. Her movements in her extremities, both upper and lower, are very taxic. In other words, they're very shaky, so she doesn't have that fine motor control. She is eating, but assistively. So she's had the trach removed, and she's able to swallow, which is phenomenal. That's great. I don't care what anybody says. If you're on any type of PEG tube or NG tube or any type of fluids that come in through a bag, you're not getting as much nourishment as you are from real food. So the progress rate, it's slowed down by at least 20 to 30% for recovery rate. The longer that you're on that PEG tube or NG tube or DO tube, whatever, any type of tube that you get a supplement through. But she is eating, and therapists are working with her diligently every day. And unfortunately, with the transverse myelitis, there's no prognosis of how much she'll ever regain. Some people lose their eyesight. Some people recover 100%. Some people don't. We just don't know. But the key point there is that she is making recovery, but it's going to be a tremendous amount of therapy. because your mailing sheath, it tends to grow about 1 centimeter a day. So it's very, very small gains. So anyway, put in the post, check me out, check everybody else out in the panel. I really appreciate it. I'm going to bed. I'm wicked tired from this past weekend's exams.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're which video is it on your channel? What's the title?
It's called let's see here. It's called Win CGS something or other. Hold on, let me find it. Win this CGS group MOD9 suppressor. Like I said, okay. I will be posting a new one on Wednesday when I'm supposed to be receiving this vest, this bulletproof vest. And again, the tax stamp is paid for. So the only thing that you're going to have to wait for is the 9 to 12 month processing time.
Right. Yeah.
But I will say this. So if you have an FFL or SOT that you know very well, generally they will let you use it in their presence at the range while you're waiting for that tax stamp approval. So
right. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that you're. Yeah. That's.
So it's a heck of a deal. You essentially you're getting about $1,500 worth of stuff, all brand spanking new. Can't beat it for $20 entry.
Yeah, man, that's crazy cheap. That's somebody's gonna be. I don't know, man. I'd be blown away if I won something like that. That's nuts.
It's pretty stellar. I mean, the two individuals, if I'll let them mention their names. I know one of them wants to be kept anonymous. I don't know about the other one, but the two individuals, I tell you what, they're stellar people, and I'm very thankful, and my heart goes out for their gratitude. But I really appreciate it. And, we've been getting good responses. But I think people believe that a ton of people have joined in on this, and that's not accurate. There's, like I said, there's maximum about 20 people. Some people, they've donated and they didn't want to be a part of the suppressor. They just donated, which is cool. And if you want to do that, do me a favor. Even if it's $1 you donate or you spread the word, I'm very thankful. Send me an email so I can at least thank you for it.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Good, man. Hope everything works out, man. It's not fair.
No, it's a whole different ballpark when it's your child involved.
Yeah, at least she's seeing some progress. I mean, holy hell, that I mean, if not, I mean, I don't know what you do, man. That's just at least you see some improvement, and it gives you some hope, and it gives you a little bit of motivation to keep going, and keep pushing.
Yep. Yeah, we got good support. So, I mean, he's a therapist. I'm a therapist. We're all therapists. There's just it's a whole different ballpark. You're not in control of your child's recovery, and that's difficult to digest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. You guys take it easy, all right?
Absolutely. Thanks. The wife put the link in for the video down there, guys, in the chat. Twice she did there.
Yeah.
So
pretty easy. Just make sure you screenshot your entry and then email it to me at blokes2cents.com. Otherwise, I don't know you've entered. Because I'm not keeping current status of who enters unless they send it to me via email, because I have nothing to do with the funds. It's just getting entered into my friend's GoFundMe page. So the only thing I'm doing is I set up this suppressor ordeal, the vest, and the tax stamp, and those were added on, which is phenomenal. But apart from that, all I did was to review the can, which is it's a great can. It's CGS is MOD9. It's the Kraken predecessor. So if you know anything about the Kraken, besides it plummeting down in price, it's a very, very quiet suppressor. It goes up to 300 blackout, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'd heard that it's multi-caliber, right?
Oh yeah.
Which I don't know squat about suppressors other than I think they're cool and I can't afford one. But I didn't know that was a thing. I thought they were really caliber specific most of the times, but that's pretty awesome that it's not.
No, actually, unless it's like a 22 I'm doing a review on their Siren, which is a 22 caliber. So that's generally, your 22 caliber bullet. But most of the other suppressors, generally people buy suppressors that can handle multiple calibers because of the wait time is so long. So MOD9 is not only just for 9mm, it will take up to 300 blackout. So check it out.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thanks, buddy. Good luck. Keep plugging away, man.
All right.
Get her the help she needs. So
yeah. Cheers, panel. Cheers, everybody out there. Good night. I'll catch you back sometime this week.
Take it easy.
You too, guys. Bye.
So we got a spot here if anybody wants it. I got a bunch of emails out there. If you want an email and I didn't get you, let me know and I'll send you a link.
Sarge, you still there?
Yes.
Okay, so I got to clarify these stats a little bit here because I just pulled up the Bureau of Justice stats from 2018. So the Bureau of Justice is saying that private sales for firearms involved in crimes is less than 0.8%.
So it'd be 0.08.
It's less than.
Okay.
But they're not sure how much. So gun show legal purchases are 0.8%. Gun store legal purchases are 7%. The firearms that are found at a scene as they're doing the crime is 7%. Illegal straw purchases, basically, for those that don't know what a straw purchase is, that's if you're buying it for somebody else that you know in full well that they're not supposed to have it, is at 25%. And then off the street or underground illegal purchases as such, 43%.
Wow. Do you know I've been doing this for a long time. We got our first gun runner a few months ago. We caught someone that was stealing a gun here, and we caught them. And they had 4 other guns in the car that they'd purchased in another state in a back alley, and where they were going to on their GPS a couple states away was somewhere you didn't want to go. So we had that's not the norm for me to find an actual person running guns because I'm not in that area. I'm sure when you're on the other end, when you're in the bad neighborhood, you do find it.
So you get to keep those or what?
No, they ended up going back to where they were taken from.
Oh,
one of them was just taken like 2 days prior, just stolen.
Yeah. They also have the FBI UCR report here from 2017.
See, that's the thing. What most people don't realize is all the numbers they're looking for, they're out there.
Yeah, in 20
and UCR is for the rest of the folks out there. It's Uniform Crime Reporting.
Yeah, that's what the police departments have
this
to
is how
send
they
in.
get their numbers. If they're entered correctly all throughout the nation, this stuff is easy to gather at the end.
So in 2017, the total amount of rifles, that's all rifles used in crimes, was 374.
Total.
All rifles, including AR-15s and AK-47s. That's even specifically on here, including ARs and AKs. Total rifles, all 374.
So this isn't new. This isn't like it used to be 30,000 and now it's at 300. So it's like, we got you, right? The strategy of making a hype or creating an epidemic, the perception of an epidemic, isn't new because that breach has been forever. It's really difficult to commit crime with rifles.
Yeah,
very little crime committed with rifles.
They were saying what 30,000 crimes or 30,000 whatever committed in the last couple of years. Total firearm deaths in.
This isn't the first time that they've used the strategy of coming up with whatever numbers they want when they come up with these strategies. So here's my suggestion. This is not the first time I've been in the chat where people are illustrating the fact that they use incorrect numbers and what the real numbers are, right? So how do we combat this? Okay, we can either go through the same ambush and deal, with the same crossfire as every other slew of people who've walked into this trap before, or we can start to challenge them on some of these concepts that they're creating. So I guess we're talking about the gun show thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just saying if they're gonna look at all these numbers and stuff, I think that we can be more effective figuring out ways to communicate with people who are like Dover had a really interesting thing on Instagram. The people that are out around on the fence right now, we just have to get those people to jump over the fence. We don't have to get antis to change their minds or nothing. So in a 2020 election year, like we know what's going on. We know that they're using the same strategies as always. It's just that anything, they've turned up the volume. I'd love it if we got together instead of just talking about what happened in the news, like repeating what they've told us is important today. We talk about how to communicate with the people we know. Because like Sarge said, dude, you deal with all kinds of stuff and you don't ever hardly deal with these things. If it was a common thing, I would suspect you'd at least have heard of it, like, right? People, they were selling guns as much as they're selling bags of marijuana or speeding or.
Yeah, the problem of it is as soon as you go after them with legitimate facts and stats, they either blow you off.
That's why I've never suggested that. That's an artificial assumption that we get off on as an echo chamber to say we get to say stats and they like emotions. So let's get into how we talk about the emotions again. Why are you handpicking? Why are you talking about this instead of that? That's a strategy that has nothing to do with facts, but starts to challenge them on like, how come you're bringing this up? Why is this an epidemic today? How come your only answer is this?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when your answer is wrong.
Well, again, that's what I'm trying to. I don't know if it's called a diversion. I'm not a speech expert or whatever. But I was throwing stuff out there, and that was why it made you seem random. But I was throwing things out there like not for them to answer, but like, what did I put in there? Why do you insist on including suicides? So if they're going to tell us we need universal background checks, you're going to say because of the crime, because of gun crime? Yeah, then why do you include 2/3 of your numbers are suicides? Are you going to say that 2/3 of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they aren't going to accept, they're expecting and they won't accept a challenge to their numbers, right? Because they're waiting for that. I'm trying to throw out a way to deal with them in a way that they don't want to come back. Like, oh, it's not fun talking to those gun people. Right now, it's fun talking to us. They can come up and say, I don't know, maybe I'm so specifically interested in this one because I went on Thursday to defend gun shows at that meeting at the fairgrounds. I don't know if anybody saw that stuff when I went there. So it wasn't that big a deal. 2 ladies show up from an organization and they say they had 650 signatures. They go to the board whose job is to like mow the lawn and, deal with the calendar, but they don't make any decisions. They just run this property for the fairgrounds, or it's a volunteer board that runs the property for the county. No profit or nothing. It's just some people that do the tasks, probably because they like horses or gun shows or something, because that's all that happens out at the fairgrounds, right? Some race cars and stuff. So these 2 ladies come up and say, you're the board, you should get rid of gun shows. You should demand that there's no more gun shows. You should just make this decision. And then the newspaper makes a big thing about it, and this is why I'm bringing this all up again. 2 ladies show up, 120 or so of us show up to be against this because we don't know what to expect. We take an hour of this board's time, and at the end of the hour, they're like, we gave you an hour to state your positions because everybody showed up, but we have to get back to our job here. And his end statements were the effect of, we don't have any authority. We don't get to make decisions. We simply follow through on what we're told. We're literally puppets. And I tell you what, as the only power I do have is what's going to be on our agenda, and we're never going to let this be on the agenda again.
I don't know yet because I haven't.
So basically, I'm bringing that up because these 2 ladies show up, 100 of us show up, and we waste this board's time. Okay, and we talked about that or whatever, if you watched it or not. Now I'm over here minding my business a day or so later, right? That was Thursday. So what is today? Sunday morning, I think I was watching something, and it's a news article, and it says a small group of people raised concerns about criminals at gun shows. And
A small group.
of people is two ladies that came out of California, or I guess they are out of Arizona, I should say, California, but two ladies come out of nowhere and basically do something that's unprecedented, that has no significance to people who have no influence, right? Just to do something to make noise, right? We react because we're asked to, and they get a news clip of the promoter of the gun show and the two ladies, and she's saying, I'm concerned about criminals. I bought these guns at the gun show, and it shows a picture of two guns, and she's got this picture of two guns. She's like, I bought these two guns at the gun show. How are they supposed to know if I'm a criminal or not? And then they have the snippet of the guy who runs the gun show, the promoter, basically saying, or they say that the ladies are challenging him, won't you require that everyone take a background check at your gun show? And he goes, of course not. And then it cuts back to them going, I bought these guns, and how do they know if I'm a criminal? Is it my glasses? Is it my haircut? And then they flip back to him going basically, oh, I got to leave the country, because he's going out of this country on some vacation. He's like, I really got to go to the airport. I'm like, what is this editing? It makes it look like a concerned group of people are worried about the criminal trade at a gun show. And really, two ladies got up and challenged something in an inappropriate place. We reacted, and basically it was like an hour of pleas of like, I really like the gun show. Leave it there. I really like the gun show. It's pretty cool. I'm a lady. I do this. I'm an old guy. I did that. I like it for this reason. And then they get one little snippet of a guy going, I really like the gun show, and I think you should keep the gun show because I like the gun show. And that's like, the representation of an hour's worth of like really interesting stuff. So it's just interesting that lately, or just recently, I guess, had this kind of warped summary of what actually happened about gun shows specifically. So they're going after gun shows right now. They're really, universal background checks and that they're just sinking their teeth into all this stuff. And I think it's because I've said it year after year, honestly, that it's an ambush. They know that they can come punch us. They know that we're going to react by going in a pretty predictive way. And then they're going to walk away either victorious because they'll have rendered a blow, like, well, actually will have failed, and they will have enacted some new gun control, and they can walk away victorious, and they'll have some gun control named after them. They'll be looked up to forever, because it doesn't happen very often. Or they get to come up and punch us and then walk away like, we tried, but the NRA stopped us. Only this next year, they're going to have the NRA's head on a stick because the NRA's falling apart. So I don't think we should continue to fight them the way that they expect it. I think we need to look at ways, especially now going into the next year, to talk to these people. So again, I guess I just jumped in to bitch and moan and be like, look, if we're going to spend time getting together, let's not spectate. Let's not talk about the news items they want us to. We know they want to go after universal background checks. They know they're going to handpick and use numbers incorrectly. Why don't we start challenging them on the frequency? How come you can only bring this up right after an atrocity? Why is it that you only talk to me about this? Why aren't you talking to everybody? Like, why are we talking about aspirin? I don't know what the things are, but I know that we've got to do something different than simply get upset with ourselves and resolve to give $30 to the GOA.
Well, the other problem is you got to challenge them on the numbers too. You got to challenge them on the stats because they're exploiting the stats. So the only way you're going to set things right is you have to challenge them on the stats. The stats don't lie. They're right there in the UCRs. They're right there. The federal government. All you have to do is look at them. They're exploiting them. They're lying as usual.
Dude, they don't have to look at those.
You just got to keep calling them on it.
There's no law. Anybody's got to look at
that's
stats.
usually when they bow up and stop talking, is when you challenge them on the facts.
Absolutely.
And make them where they have to come up with an answer.
Stop talking.
Especially when you have the correct answer.
That's not winning, though. Challenging on the facts is a way that they have engineered a way to walk away from the conversation and say, this guy's not listening. I'm telling you, I've only been through this many, many, many times.
Yeah, so have I.
The facts is exactly what they want, dude. It doesn't change anything. It says, here's my incorrect facts. I'm going to lay them on the table. with this little look in their eye, like now he's going to, and they look at their watch. Now he's going to correct my facts. And now I'm going to walk away from the table because you're not listening. I mean, how many times are we going to go through this little stupid dance? That's how choreographed, that's how the puppeteers play us when we react to similarly each time. So I understand, understand the facts. We've mastered the facts. We know the facts because they really don't change. It's about from like 36 to 40,000 total. 2/3 is always suicides. We're left with like 8,000 handguns, 300 rifles. And all the rest are crimes, like real crimes. And here's the other thing. We're going to keep giving them like, oh, the inner cities. That's garbage too. It's like 5 counties. It's not all inner cities. All inner cities are dealing with the same kind of stuff everybody else is dealing with. The difficulty in acquiring and figuring out what's right and which laws you got to follow or whatever. And then just being fed on by the politicians or whatever, preyed on, I guess, by the politicians. So luckily we got all kinds of stuff potential now with all kinds of different people in different parts of the country doing all different kinds of crazy good stuff, bringing new people into firearms and students. So anyway, bitching here, but I just wanted to jump in and say that just getting mad at them for the numbers, we're not doing ourselves any favors.
Well, that one I'll disagree with you on because the big problem there is everybody hears blah, 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 30,000 deaths, blah, 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 300,000 gun kills, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't counter that with the correct numbers, last things they hear is blah, 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 30,000, blah, 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 300,000.
Doesn't matter, dude. That doesn't matter at all.
It does. It matters greatly.
A real number. It hasn't got nothing near health code or the health deaths. It has nothing near cigarette deaths. It's nothing near heart disease. It's nothing near any of the other things. It's only kind of close to accidents. So the number isn't atrocious.
So you incorporate those other things. You incorporate those other numbers in there as well.
Dude, I talk to Yankee. You can't overtalk me. So who cares if they walk away with a 30,000?
You don't want to bet? Don't push me. Trust me, I can do it.
The number don't matter because it's not the number. If you think that they win when they walk away with a 30,000 number, that's wrong. They win when they walk away being hip at the end of the conversation, when they're cooler than you are at the end of the conversation. When you lose your head and whatever, that's when they get to walk away and say, he's not listening. So I think that the strategy is incorrect to try to have a logical debate with anybody like this. In fact, that's why I'm suggesting, let's talk about Aikido. Let's talk about going towards the things that they're standing on, the false assumptions they're standing on, challenging them on the frequency and on why they're ignoring these other numbers, but not challenging them on, oh, you said 40,000 instead of 36,000. That's the surest way to make somebody roll their eyes who's observing the back and forth. And it doesn't make you win a debate. It simply allows the other person to suggest that you're bickering about a tiny piece and that you're not seeing the real picture. If they come at you with, there's this many, why aren't you letting us have universal background checks at gun shows because of the thing? Then I would suggest coming at them with, how come you won't let abused wives come to a gun show to learn and protect themselves? See what I'm saying? Who cares about numbers? Now someone's got to come away from that conversation going, how come they're not letting abused wives go to a gun show to learn and get something to defend themselves?
Chat murderer.
No, this is going nowhere because he's just not listening.
See? Numbers. It was the numbers. And that's the other thing. What if we just did that to them and walk away? Like I say, I think there's ways that we can mess with them. Somebody doing a lot of quote work lately, and somebody had a good one about a porcupine. You may be able to mess with a porcupine. You may be able to hurt a porcupine, but every onlooker is going to think twice about whether or not they want to mess with the porcupine. Something to that effect, said more clever. But porcupine can get hurt, but the people that are watching are going to think twice about trying to hurt that porcupine. So if we just started to be less of victims in this whole thing, we stand around trying to be like sober and right and nice and blah, blah, blah. I think we just got to be a little bit more something so that we're just less consistent. And I'm not saying we have to be deceptive at all. I'm not saying we have to pull any of their garbage. Other than I did read Zelensky's Rules for Radicals. And I highly recommend, it takes 7 hours to listen to the audiobook. I highly recommend listening to it. It's a little tough to listen to, but seriously, it's amazing how much they're pulling it right out of there. And it's so easy to use their own manual against them. It's amazing how easy it is to use it against them. If we were able to make Alyssa Milano cry because she looked like such an idiot, not cry like because she was hurt emotionally or something, but cry because she was embarrassed, then she would never come back to being smacking about guns again. She'd go worry about something else. And I don't want to say it in here. I'll type it in the side because it's not something I'm going to say in here. But if in the internal there, I've seen a couple of memes that hit that aspect because she did too. And it's like that shuts her up really fast. And I know it's inappropriate, so I'm not saying nothing about it. But I'm not saying we need to stoop to that level because I don't agree with that. However, if we can find something as effective as a quick way to disregard or to make fun of this, basically Alinsky's thing is this whole discussion we're having is straight out of Alinsky's book, Rules for Radicals, the book that Hillary Clinton did her college thesis on, and that Obama went to the presidency with. Rules for Radicals. You cannot believe how much of an instruction manual it is of the Obama presidency. If you don't believe me, read it and we'll have a debate about it. Rules for Radicals tells you the same exact debate. You can sit around knowing the whole thing. You can know you're right, but you make fun of the other guy and you win. You're done. That's it. It's all about human beings and us in mass. You can fight it all you want, but we are human beings. We're like a bunch of monkeys. And that's all that book is it's scientifically looking at a bunch of people, and they use that stuff well. And it's used to manipulate us to buy stuff all the time. They use it to pit us against each other, and it's freaking obvious. I mean, how many times do we have to go through the same thing? They'll come up and say something like, 30-round magazine double barrel clip. Guess who's famous? They said 30-barrel double magazine clip. They've gone to college, for crying out loud. They probably know more about golf or tennis than we'll ever know. They might know more about the Jaguar or whatever the hell. Like, they're not idiots. They're saying that stuff because they know it tweaks our things. You fucking go in the spiral like a dog chasing its tail. We got to get out of that and start attacking them in the same way. They'll leave us alone forever. They got swimming pools. They want to exploit this country. They want to suck off of the government. If they went after swimming pools, who's going to defend swimming pools? There's no constitutional right to swim. Rich people and people that had swimming pools when they moved in, and certain people with private water features, are going to be defending swimming pool legislation, but nobody else is going to be fucking fighting it. So that's why I'm saying all we got to do is be porcupines. We just got to get them to realize that we're savvy, and they leave us alone for decades.
What Ghost just said is what I was gonna say as soon as you were done, G. I find it really hard.
I was just taking a no.
I find it really hard with and I don't get in a whole lot. I won't say I get into arguments with people about guns. I talk to people about them and whatnot, and I don't really get into like back and forths very often. But during that Milano and Cruz thing, you just get that vibe about. They say, what do you need an AR for? Why would you need that? And the thing, one of the things that I think. What's that?
No, I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. And one of the things is, I think it is because of the Second Amendment, and I think people should have the what I guess I'll say the firepower that they should have, against to protect themselves against the government. And say, well, why do you need an AR-15? And you sound like a monster when you say you need it, and it's more important than people. And they say, well, somebody's kid just got killed by one. it's bigger than that, and you sound like a old heartless monster. You know,
Somebody's kid just got killed by a Honda Accord too.
I understand. I
Right.
totally understand. I'm not arguing with you. You know,
So here's the deal. They've got this sharp sword, and every time they swing it, it hurts. It hurts. So are you suggesting where do you get better armor, or are you asking like how to step out of the way? Because I'm saying let's not stand in front of them if they're swinging the same sharp sword they've been swinging every single time. They have the same playbook every single time.
They play the numbers game with us here in Maryland all the time. When you say, why do you need an AR-15? 7,000 people are killed by assault rifles every year. And then you correct that and say, okay, well, what about illegal immigrants? What about the fact that just in the last month, 8 illegal immigrants were accused of rape and sexual assault on minors in one county? And their first answer is going to be, well, you can't blame all of them for what a couple people do. And then 5 minutes ago, I said the same thing. I said, well, you can't blame all gun owners for what somebody illegally does with a firearm. So they don't care about logic and stuff. They have their focus, just like the Saul Alinsky book. They have their focus and their idea, and they're not going to let you distract them.
But I think that's a good way to juxtapose it, right? Because that gets the idea. Maybe do it a little quicker in 3 steps or something, but right, like that shows them, like, hey, what's the difference? You're throwing all gun owners out with the bad apple thing.
Here's our problem. We're trying to approach this logically, and if you've ever had an argument with an illogical person, you have no tools to work with.
No, that's a good point.
And it's
and they're not
extremely different.
One anti-gunner by any means, right? There's a billion different versions of anti-gunner.
It's the same thing too. Like, they think the reason that there's evil and murder and death is because of guns, and we how do you we're convinced that without them would be.
That's unfair to them. They don't think that guns emanate evil unless they're weird. They don't think that guns have like mist coming out of them. Well, listen, if you go 60%, they feel simply every time they say, I don't want you to worry about your guns. I just don't want bad guys to have guns. What they're saying is, we just want guns off the playing field. And since they're insignificant, we're just going to take the ones that are mean. It's like saying to them, we're just going to take the golf clubs that are heavy. You can have all the other golf clubs and play your golf game. So that's really what they're saying, right? Now go with me here, because I'm not just saying that. Now that gives us a little knowledge. If they seriously think our guns are vice, if they think our guns are just a hobby, if they think there's some kind of like, thing that we have to do because we got issues with our dicks or whatever, they think that we're like, we're so violent that we have to have these things. That's an angle that we can go after. Similar to my other suggestion about the why are you defending from, right? Like it's a different angle different tact we can take. So if they're going to suggest that the environment is that guns are just these casual vices that we should be willing to give up, just the way smokers are willing to stand over there, it's not that big a deal. That's a whole different conversation than when they come at it with universal background checks. They're not coming at it like us. They're not sitting around having conversations about this. They get told by whoever it is they're listening to. They say, please program me today. And they say, put on an orange shirt and go stand over there. And here's a bunch of bullet points. And they're going to say to you, shall not be infringed. And you say, it's just a couple of different guns. They're going to give them bullet points. They're going to regurgitate them. So how do you mess with that machine? How do you mess with that mechanism that they've created on that side and it's been working for them? Is you ask them a different question. Why are you here today? How come you ladies aren't out here on Wednesday or the other day? And, or maybe you ask them questions and like Kingpin just said, oh, okay, so this is just like illegal immigration. Like they, and they're going to say, oh, no. Or maybe you say, yeah, let's give all the guns to Trump. I like your ideas. Trump's not a dictator. Let's make sure he's the only one with the guns. Trump, the army, and the criminals. That's the only people, maybe there's some way to talk to these people that I'm done.
No, I get you. One of the things that's tough is, I do think there's an awful lot of people out there that believe that even, putting a gun in somebody's hand makes them, can influence them to do bad things. And, I think, if you watch that, and I know you guys didn't seem to watch it, but, if you watch the Milano thing, one of the things that she brought up, it was kind of, I was surprised that she brought up, was she was taking a cruise, and they were talking to cruise, and she said about how there's videos out there where people are wrapping bacon around these guns and they're shooting and so much, and they're cooking the bacon, and it's just a big joke, and they don't take these things seriously. And it was interesting for her to bring that up. That was something that I've never really heard anybody talk about. And we talk about it as a joke, like, oh, haha, whatever. And she's looking at it and she's like, oh my God, these guys are taking these, in her mind, they're like, these people are taking these things that are killing machines and they're just treating them like toys and they're just a joke. Like, we need to.
That's going 60%. That's understanding what she's freaking out about, right? Like, because you got that insight from her. So now if you can say to her, like, oh, I can see how you think that that's callous or whatever, but imagine if we were motorcyclers and we were doing one of them wheelie things, how they do. I think that's crazy, but they can do that within their sleep because they do it every day. Or what about a chainsaw guy whittling a big grizzly bear out of a chainsaw log? I'd chop my leg off if I did it, but I'm not going to suggest it should be illegal. Like, these people are familiar. These might be cops or something that, play with guns every single day. And this is just like, they are playing with their motorcycles. They do those motorcycle twisty things.
I totally agree. And that's not using a firearm in an unresponsible or dangerous manner. It's not. I mean, it's, the worst thing that happens is you what do? You drop your bacon in the dirt or something. But, to somebody like that, they're perceiving it as like, we don't, gun owners don't take it seriously, and they think it's just a big old joke. So that was, I don't know, it was definitely, that's why I say you should watch it. A lot of people say, I don't want to watch that. That's bullshit. It's very interesting to watch.
They also understand that when people cook bacon on the end of their ARs, it's a way to tell Melissa Milano, look how stupid you are. She knows that that's an insult to her. She knows it's not, somebody taking a killing weapon and treating it like a toy. They know that we're trolling them.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I don't want to create, back to what G was saying before, I don't want to create homework for G, but what would be wrong with a series of videos educating us on that? What was the radical book you were talking about? What was it?
Oh, Rules for Radicals?
Yeah. What would be wrong with?
I'm not good. I mean, I listen to them the same way I watch movies. I'll have it on, and like, especially then I was going out and playing with the robot out there, and then I'd be in here fiddling with something. So I get little pieces. It's, I'm not good at recollecting. I would have done it right after maybe, and if somebody was sitting here who read it, I could probably recall some things, but I'm just not that good at recalling it. Otherwise,
maybe we should start adopting that as our strategy.
What's that? Doing like a book club? I would be down. Anybody who wants to do a book club, read a book together, and then do an after action review where everybody makes a video. We talk about it and everybody can do like a review video. I think that not only helps ourselves to retain the books, but also encourages others to read and what books to read that are worth it crap, because there's some excellent books out there that make us better business people and better resources. At least that's the books I read.
Well, I'm interested in the strategy that they used.
Yeah, seriously, it's 7.5 hours long. There's got to be like a Crib Notes version or something, or like a lot of times what I'll find too is if I can't find a whole book on tape, I'll watch like a seminar where they're just literally dissecting the book or talking to the author or something. So there might be something like that. I think he's dead, but I think he was alive during when there was videotapes and stuff. Is he dead? I really don't. I don't really like the guy. I don't respect his book. I think he's dumb.
Because why couldn't we use their strategy if you're talking about convincing them?
We have to use their strategy against them. It's the easiest way to fight somebody is when you know how they fight, right?
Yeah, and I don't mean
Saul Alinsky died in the 70s.
Oh, okay, thanks. But I think I've seen video of him being weird. He's like semi-commie or something. I mean, he didn't do this because he loves the United States or anything.
Yeah, that's the reason, Sarge, that we don't use Saul Alinsky's book. as our tactics is because we're decent human beings.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're fairly sleazy. I mean, they're basically marketing. It's nothing like magical, mystical stuff. It's just being factual about the way masses of people act and being super unscrupulous about it, and definitely being willing to do stuff that creates stuff so that you can capitalize and exploit, things that are going to happen. Seriously manipulative and horrible. And I'm not suggesting we use every strategy, but it's definitely useful to know it, especially when it, like Obama's presidency.
Even if we don't use it against them, if we use it as education to not fall into the trap. If they have come up with a game plan that says, okay, and because we all have noticed all the insults, but if we are calm during the insult and then we stay on our path, that derails them because they're not getting the reaction they expect. And when they don't get the reaction, it's like the plan's not working.
Exactly.
So
and
maybe
that's what I'm saying. They're not prepped. They're just
maybe
told,
we should start learning their plan, and then know that'll keep us on the straight and narrow of getting our point across, because we won't fall.
You said it way better than I was trying to say it before, but that's exactly what I was trying to say.
A better book for strategy, which is, you still can't do all of it like G Webs was saying, because it's a book about war, but Sun Tzu's Art of War is a really good strategic book.
Oh no, 100% of it I'll agree with you, except I just want to add it applies to life all the time. Listen to it once a month and you'll see what I'm talking about. It applies a lot. And FYI, you can get both of those books on YouTube. Art of War, which is way better to listen to. It takes like 90 minutes. Listen to Art of War once a month. And then Book of the Five Rings, which I'll add, is awesome also. And then go listen to Rules for Radical if you ever want to for 7 hours. And that's also on YouTube for just listening to it. I use the 4K downloader program. You just find 4K downloader that everybody was using back in the day to download the audio off of our YouTube videos to make podcasts with. And that will pull the audio. If you find a book on tape on YouTube, I shouldn't say that on YouTube. But anyway, there's things you can use that'll help you facilitate listening to the book on tape.
Do I have to buy like a cassette player, or an 8-track player or something?
Yeah, you then would have to
Record player?
buy something to record onto an 8-track, and then buy an 8-track player, and then listen to it.
That's
You
rough.
know, listening to
Or you can eliminate the last 7 steps.
you gotta get your controller back out.
Record player in every house.
There you go. Maybe Biden can get us one. Give us the hookup.
Did anybody see Biden's eye the other night? I saw some memes with his eye.
It was still
That
messed
was
up.
a little while ago.
red.
That takes a
No.
long time to. I've had that happen. That takes a long time to get to clear up.
Yeah,
Like
the big thing is the teeth falling out.
that was hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I heard about that, but I didn't see it. The
Oh,
eye
yeah.
thing. I had that happen.
Go ahead, Midnight. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. As I say, I had that happen once when I was sick. I had a flu or something really bad, or it might have been. I had salmonella when I was young once. Might have been that. But I got it. I broke a blood vessel throwing up. It's throwing up so hard, and stood up. And about 5 minutes later, I looked in the mirror, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It's freaky, man, when you do that.
I watched a thing about this one guy who, what do they call it? He invented. He was like in the science of figuring out the ejection seats and all that, and he took all kinds of G's, and that's where your eyes look like when you take a lot of G's. Your eyes get all bloody like that.
What's his name? He was the prototype Jaeger. Yeah, there's pictures of Jaeger like that where both of his eyes are. Oh man, it's scary looking.
They'll lose their eyes their sight for a while, and then it's like a question if it'll equalize the pressure or something in time and get it back or not.
Yeah, it's creepy. Yeah, it was with me. It was about half my eye. Freaked me out, man. But yeah, I didn't see the teeth thing. I missed that. But hey,
What's
it is
going on
what
with
it
his
is.
teeth?
Uh,
If one of my eyes did that, I'd go to like a lot of buffets and then go up and be like, I ate the shrimp and it don't feel good. Can I get my money back? And then get you to buffets all the time.
His bottom dentures popped out, Sarge, and they almost came out of his mouth, but he was able to catch them and set them back without having to like touch his face.
Kind of like how a chick will like whip her hair back, or like a old headbanger would whip his hair back.
No, he caught him with his tongue. You can see the front plate that slipped to the side and started coming out. He caught it with his tongue real quick. We pushed it back up.
Wow. Was that the other night?
Yeah, that was the last debate.
Oh my gosh.
So who's gonna win? Trump?
None.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. That's one of the hottest. I don't know. I want to say topics, but one of the most popular, things people are talking about too is like, man, Trump is looking better and better and better, or his percentage is going up. It's just these guys are just imploding.
Well, I mean, that's good for us, though.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah. Hopefully, I won't say yeah.
It's clearly good.
There's no way to say good, right? You can say it's definitely not a Hillary again. It's not whatever these people are yelling about, which is good. But I'm afraid of what a emboldened Trump will do, especially because I don't think he cares at all, and he will concede. Like he will offer whatever he needs to. We're just one of many pawns on the table, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely can see him. It's almost like, I do kind of picture him almost like Game of Thrones, where they have all the pieces on the map, or like a war movie, back in the day where they have the map and they have the little icons and they move them around and stuff. I totally see him doing that with people's rights, not just gun rights, but other rights too. Like, I don't know, do we need this? I don't know. Let's move that off to the side, and we'll decide whether we're going to get rid of that. No, we'll put this here, and we'll put that there. It's scary for sure.
So I told you I've been doing quotes lately. So here's a good one from Neil Knox, the guy that was one of the two guys responsible for the 77 revolt of NRA, and he was one of the two founders of the ILA. So he says, compromise means giving up more than the other side is big enough to take. If and when they have the muscle, they'll be back for more. Then he goes on to say something about the wolves, where if you're got wolves at the door, you don't get rid of them by throwing them scraps.
Yeah, that's a hell of a good way to. That's a good saying right there. That's a good quote.
So compromise is giving them something that they can take now, and that means basically emboldening them to come back and take more when they can.
Yeah.
So he was no compromise, like legit. And then that's when he wanted to run for president in the 90s. That's when Wayne LaPierre split with them and said, nope, let's bring in, what's his name, Planet of the Apes from My Cold Dead Hands. He won president, and that's when NRA started going the way it's today. But Knox was like hardcore before GOA was even. Well, I mean, GOA was hardcore or whatever, but Neil Knox was like the OG hardcore, Second Amendment only for the NRA, and they kicked him out. But yeah, I think Trump is going to compromise, right? He doesn't see that as ribs at the door. He doesn't losing nothing.
Well, it's not if, it's when. I really do. I mean, when he's not being faced with re-election, like if he gets elected again and then knows he can't get elected a third time, that's what worries me a little bit. What he wants his legacy to be. Like, does he want his legacy to be business? Does he want his legacy to be, you know what I mean? Like, it could be, what is he going to focus on in these last couple of years? Is it going to be the wall? Is it going to be business? Is it going to be, all of a sudden, is he going to take up the mantle of, the one that saved people from guns, you know.
But you know, Obama didn't go crazy in his second term. He wasn't much different than his first. I don't know
Yeah,
that they
but he
have
was
the
held
ability.
back on healthcare. Like that was his legacy. His legacy with healthcare. What is Trump's going to be? That's what I
Well,
mean. You know?
Trump
A
doesn't.
good economy.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I think the TDS is a little bit too strong.
It's all about money.
You know,
Yeah.
this thing about Trump's going to compromise us all to build a wall. He's got a legacy developing with the economy, with the civil rights, not the civil rights, the criminal act that he's all proud about. He's got the wall. There's this whole thing like he's only focused on coming after the gun community is a farce. There's not true. I mean, and I understand. I'm probably the most pro-Trump person in the panel and in the chat, and I will definitely eat my hat if everything I said is wrong. But are you guys willing to come back in 4 more years when he doesn't do any of this stuff and say, you know what, I was wrong?
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say. I mean, I've said I was wrong about Trump before. Like I didn't. You know, I was crossing my fingers when I heard he was running, and it looked like then it. You know, there's no way. Then he got elected, and I was like, well, I'm going to cross my fingers. You know, and something that I heard years ago was somebody said, some economist had said, this was before Trump. This was before he was even like possibility. They said, you know, the country, our country, the United States of America is a business, and you know, maybe we need somebody to run it like a business. And then Trump comes along, and I'm thinking like, holy shit, boy, okay. I'm thinking I remember this guy's saying that. And I was like, okay, if he gets elected, and he did get elected, I'm like, okay, well, let's see it. Maybe that guy, you know, that's a great quote. You know, I mean, a businessman. You know, maybe he can take the bull by the horns and makes things happen. You know, and everybody's dogging him about China right now. And I think what he said about the tariffs and what he's doing in China, I think was really smart. And he said, you know, they're stealing our intellectual not content, intellectual property. They're doing this, they're doing that. He's like, yeah, it might hurt us now, but in the long run, it's what needs to happen. Well, and that's a good businessman's theory. You know,
that's a good theory in general. One of my coworkers has talked about that. He said sometimes things are more difficult in the short term, which they are. When people say, I just don't want to mess with it. They're more difficult in the short term, but they are always easier in the long term.
Plus, this guy by himself. He's got zero, I mean, absolutely zero Democratic support. Zero. And just being, you know, I'm going to give him credit and say he's got half the Republicans supporting him. If he had a Republican Party that would support him and a spattering of Democrats here and there, things would be a whole lot different. This guy's on an island by himself. So, you know, once again, I sound like I'm making excuses for the guy, and if I turn out that I'm wrong, you know, I'll definitely come back and make my acknowledgments to everybody.
But you said you got to eat your hat.
Yeah, that with mustard, no mayonnaise.
But that's a good time to bring up. We now make hats made 100% out of cheese, Wisconsin cheese made hats with Velcro panels. So you might want to buy those before you make any of these kind of bets.
I'll be interested to see what he does with this Saudi Arabia bombing. That'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there, because he's already threatened to go in there and blowing them up.
Well, yeah, and he got rid of John Bolton, who would have
he did
killing people.
That just came over his Twitter feed that we're locked and loaded and ready to rock and roll because we know who did this. And
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think most times. Sometimes I think, you know, well, somebody even said, I think it was Tim Pool, one of the comments he made about like the debates and Trump and, you know, a lot of this stuff was, you know, love him or hate him when the American public looks at, you know, the Democratic debates and they're all over the place and, you know, they they're scatterbrained and they're all trying to outleft each other. And then you look at Trump, and Trump is strong. He's a strong person. He's a strong personality, but he's also, he holds himself strong. And the public wants a strong leader. And that's where, I thought, that's kind of where I thought back to Beto when he said that, hey, hell yeah, we're coming for your AR-15s and your AK-47s. He looked strong when he said that. He looked like he had passion, and he had strength in his voice when he said that. He was, he was defiant and arrogant in a way. And the public likes that. And that's where, I don't think Beto's going to go anywhere for sure. But him spouting off like that, does it embolden the rest of them to be quote unquote strong?
I was going to say Beto doesn't even have 1%.
Right. No. I totally. He ain't going nowhere. I know that. But you don't have to be the front runner to be the one that ends up motivating your side either. Russ, I'm just scanning through. There's a ton of chat out there. Russ says one of the biggest issues in our country, self-responsibility, is no longer a common thing. Absolutely nobody gives a shit about anything. There is no shame. There is no shame. There is no self. There's no self. I would say no. Okay. I mean, obviously, I'm being whatever, but there is no shame. There is no self-responsibility.
No accountability.
Accountability.
They're also being told, who was it, de Blasio, who said, went through the list of, if you're broke, that's not your fault. If you live in a bad neighborhood, that's not your fault. You didn't do that to yourself. They're being told that this specter over here, the man, is holding everybody down and causing, if you got a bad job, it's not your fault. It's because somebody did that to you.
All right, I don't agree.
It's a victim mentality.
Well, you don't have to agree. I've heard Bill de Blasio say that himself. I've heard these Democrats say that themselves.
No, I'm not disagreeing with what you said they said. I'm disagreeing that there's no, what did he say? He's saying that there is a lack of self-responsibility in our country. I don't agree. And I've driven 50,000 miles, so my perspective is based on me just driving around over the years. I've driven around 50,000 miles this last couple of years, but when I was a kid, drove around all the time. That's probably why I like driving around. So, and I'm not saying I've seen everything. I'm just saying I've seen some stuff. And wouldn't there be wouldn't it look like Idiocracy, the movie Idiocracy? It's a buffoonery of apathy, right? Wouldn't it be that there wouldn't be nice neighborhoods, and there wouldn't be nice cars, and people wouldn't care, and there wouldn't be that many restaurants, and there wouldn't be entrepreneurship? I suggest that there is all that stuff, and that is your self-responsibility, but the media wants to focus on stuff that sells, so they're going to pick the extremes. And there's definitely, I'm not saying things are perfect, I'm just saying if everyone was truly apathetic and just bad, it would be a horrible place, and it's not. Everything is doing the same as ever, if not better, as far as the general thing. They can pick specific instances in a giant country. Those aren't indicative of trends, unless all of a sudden there's nothing on the news but new riots every day. How can you tell me a place that has no self-responsibility has only a couple of riots in decades? You can look at countries where they truly are messed up or have super strained, and there's all kinds of horrible stuff going on. So I don't agree. I hear that they're trying to push that, and they'll show examples of it, but that's only their handpicked data.
And you can see that I agree with what you're saying there, G-Webs, because we have already talked about it before in different chats. They claim that the gun is the problem, and we know that there's 150 million gun owners and some 300 million guns in the country. If guns were the problem, you'd know about that. It'd be the only thing you could talk about all day. Well, probably not, because if it was really that big of a problem, you probably just got shot.
they wouldn't have to fake these numbers. It would be obvious to everyone that there's a problem. They have to fake these numbers because they're coming out of nowhere. They're just what's the word? Pulling a fast one past all the other stuff we should be looking at probably. And I'm just saying, I'm just not trying to change the world. I'm just saying, well, let's take a grain of salt when they tell us that all of them are like this or all of them are like this. They want us to be apathetic and give up. They don't want us to work together, defend what we feel is important as little groups. If we together as gun owners, this is how important this is, right? As gun owners, with the NRA failing, we can do nothing. We can be spectators. We can have the best seats in the house to watch the antis suggest the most atrocious infringements they've ever suggested and barely get any consequence from it. They can potentially carry the NRA's dead head on a stick next year and suggest that they did it. No one's going to challenge them on it. We can observe all that and then watch our rights dwindle as we scurry to obtain whatever we possibly can. And our descendants will just have to do with whatever scraps, the same way we deal with the scraps of 86 or 34, right? Or we can do something. We can be that porcupine. We might take some blows, and we got to get used to taking a punch in the eye once in a while. You don't get a punch in the eye by every time there's a fight. We sit down and take a little bit out of our pockets and give it to them so that we don't exchange blows. Let's start exchanging some blows. Let's start having some consequences to lose so that we get some resolution here. But anyway, let's be that porcupine. Let's get in a couple altercations with them politically on the soapbox and on the ballot box. But let's challenge some stuff so that, again, the political strategists leave us alone. Because what happens when we, the gun owners, get them to leave us alone is, somebody else comes along and says, hey, the gun owners got them off their backs. Let's get them off our backs too. And they'll have a voice to say it because this first will be secure. So, yeah, I think that we've got a lot to gain by working together and changing the dynamic and getting them off our back, or at least attempting to. If nothing else, they see that, all of a sudden the gun owners are acting different. That's weird. And when they make their strategies again, do you think wailing on gun owners is going to be their idea? Like last time we wailed on gun owners, they got all upset. Should we smash them even more and see how more upset they're going to get? Or should we move on to swimming pools or stairways that don't have railings, or how unhealthy subways are? It's like a billion things they could complain about. They want to complain about something that has no resistance. We give them the exact same results every time they wail on us. I'm saying the same thing again, so I'll shut up.
Hey, Mr. Midnight.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm getting off the bed. I just want to say thanks for having me, and thank you to everybody on the panel for a really great conversation. The chat was awesome tonight. So everybody have a really great night and have a safe week. And don't forget to go check out Bloke's giveaway.
Yes.
See you guys.
Have a good night, man.
Man. Dead horses trolling out there. 226 is greater than CZ.
He is absolutely correct.
Oh man, get this shit.
Yes, he is.
Get this shit. So one of the servers at work comes in to work the other day, and his dad was a chief of police at one of the townships or towns or whatever. I don't know. Not far away. He's retired now. And server's he's not a big gun guy. His family shoots, they're into guns or whatever, but he's shot, but he's not like a big gun guy. I remember a couple of years ago he came in, he's like, my dad thinks I need a gun. He's like, he wants me to have a gun, for protection or whatever. And his dad bought him a Beretta 92. And he's like, that thing's huge. He's like, I can't even carry that thing. That thing's huge. Well, he comes into work a couple days ago. He's like, get this shit. And so they stopped at a local VFW to grab, I guess his dad was over there. So they went to meet his dad, and they were doing they had a gun raffle going, and they each bought a couple of tickets or whatever.
I'm gonna hate this kid. I can tell.
Yeah, no, you don't even know. Just wait. So they pull a ticket, and he's like, I wanna. And he couldn't even remember what it was. he I don't know which one he won, but he won a Sig 320. Okay, and he's like, and my damn grandma wins a Kimber 357.
Holy mackerel!
Jesus, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" He's like, "No." I was like, "That's crazy. That's awesome." He said his grandma shoots. She goes and shoots with him and stuff. So I was like, "Holy shit, man! That's a lot of money." That Kimber's probably, I don't know what Kimber it was. He just said it was a Kimber 357. I don't know if it was the bobbed hammer or not, But isn't that crazy? She's like 80 years old or some shit.
I was say bobbed hammer or not. That's 800.
Hell yeah, yeah. They I mean, they had one like over like $1,100 worth of guns between the two of them. Yeah, it's crazy, right? I was like, son of a bitch, man. Why didn't you fucking call me at a giving you
Anyway,
a couple of tickets? I was like, holy hell, man. And he's like, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of people there. I guess they didn't sell a whole lot of tickets. I was like, well, that's why you should have called me. I could have drummed up $20 for you or something to buy a ticket or two. I think he said they were $20.
Just give me his $20 back for that gun he won.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I'll buy that ticket off you that you already won a gun with. I was like, son of a bitch, man. So yeah, it was awesome and really bummed me out all at the same time.
I knew I was gonna hate this kid.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I wouldn't mind having one of those Kimber K6Ss, but I ain't gonna pay for
it. Yeah, I don't. I think honestly, I think if I won that, I don't know, man. I think I'd probably sell it and maybe buy something less expensive and then have some cash too.
Go buy two guns, sell it, and buy two.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just gonna check it. I'm just gonna check and see what it is on my dealer site.
Yeah, I don't know how much they are.
Yeah, they run right around $800 retail for either of them. With the bobbed hammer, or I should say the hammerless, or the new one that just came out with the hammer.
Oh, that's true. It's not a bobbed hammer, right? It's hammerless. It's internal, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's right. I think a revolver without a hammer looks so weird. I understand it, and I know why. I understand why a lot of people like them.
Looks wrong.
I think visually they just look so weird to me.
Looks wrong. They shouldn't be like that.
Just put a little fake hammer on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say like, well, you don't want it to snag on something. Well, then don't make it out of metal. Just make it out of make it out of something soft plastic, so it looks good. But then, yeah. So then if you get it snagged on something, it just bends, and it's no big deal.
Make it out of aluminum.
No, you don't want it to snag at all. So you just make it so like out of Nerf. Make it out of Nerf, so it looks
Nerf
good.
Hammer.
Is Nerf a material?
Yeah. So from maybe a couple feet away, it looks good, but it still just folds over, so you don't get it snagged on something. Snug? Don't get snug.
Don't get snug.
Don't get snuggified. Snuggificated.
Snuggificated.
Yeah. Snuggerized. My little dead pony is here. What's going on?
Yo.
Oh, he's a rapper now.
Gun chatting.
Yeah, rap battle time.
There you go.
Chat battle?
Chat battle. That looked like a load of fun the other night, man. I wish I could have jumped in.
Yeah, that was an absolutely great show.
So should we do that like on a actual planned event?
That should be
I
like
think
a
so.
once a week thing. That should be like a
I think
once a week thing. Yeah.
I'd love to be involved with it.
Just need some clearly defined ground rules that everyone can agree on.
Well, and that's the thing.
There's
Like,
definitely some shenanigans taking place.
I think you should do it with like the old dodgeball way though. It's like, you know, you pick 2 team captains and then they pick one person every time, because in that way I think there'll be less whiners all on one team.
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. Like everybody shows up and there are no teams, right? And then you pick captains and then the teams exist. That's what you're saying?
and
Yeah.
what you do is you figure out when you guys don't. You need to figure something out with like a bell or a buzzer or a little horn or something that
I
everybody
like
has.
that raise your hand thing idea G-Web's
Yeah.
had on GunTube.
No, that was Gary's idea, I think. That was putting it in GunTube, because you get the little. You never use GunTube because you hate GunTube and you use the duck. But on GunTube, you use your hand over there. There's a little polite way to raise your hand.
Oh,
That's exactly. Except it goes oh when you do it.
well, that's
Yeah,
Hey,
breathes into
Don't
your
worry about the noises. You'll get used to them. You'll get really comfortable with the noises over there.
yeah. I tried to use GunTube, but I just couldn't pull it off, and that's why I have 3 chats tonight. So
Take a hot bath and then wait till somebody starts text chatting in the GunTube. It's very relaxing.
Would that help?
there you go. Hey, and you got to do it like a Darth Vader voice or something. Apparently,
You haven't spent much time in the tube yet. There's a lot of.
Yeah, no, it literally is creepy. It's like Joe Biden coming up behind you, like, you know, talking in your ear.
blowing a little something. Somebody blows in your ear a little bit.
All right. I think I'm going to head to bed. I got school all week.
Okie dokie.
All week.
All
Terrible.
week long.
Lucky you.
All week.
All week long. All week.
You see what Pink is saying out there? Some guy went to this auction he went to and bought 75% of the 100+ guns that were there. He either owned the store or was a self-made millionaire, or was a millennial who crashed his 401k to get these. So were they expensive guns, or were they going for like a deal and he couldn't just let them sit?
Oh, he destroyed them?
No. Who destroyed? Oh no, I think he's making fun there. But
Oh.
I'm
I
wondering
was
if
like,
he was
wow.
paying outrageous prices, like he was buying them to make sure no one else could buy them, and price doesn't matter. Or again, like you could go to if you went to an auction and they were like, okay, here's this really nice gun for $5, going twice, you're going to buy that gun, right? You're not going to like, well, I'm not going to buy this because I don't have $5 to spend.
See you, buddy.
Expensive, so yeah, who knows?
Yeah, be interested to. Pink, is that auction online or something that they have a listing of all the guns? That'd be awesome to look and see what he got. I did that for a while. I would lay in bed at night and pull up auctions and just look through, some of the estate sales and auctions and stuff to see what guns they were selling. That's a bad thing to do, man. That really makes you want to buy guns so bad.
Yeah, it does.
Wow, man. I didn't know. I had never done it before. And then the first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, they have one of those. Oh, I want one of those. Oh, that's so awesome that they have that. It's such a bad idea. It's way, way, way worse than going to a gun show or a gun store or anything, because there's no prices. So you're like, I bet you I could get that cheap as shit.
It's only bad if you don't think of it as an investment. You start thinking of it like a competition, right? Like you're competing with another guy, and I'm going to beat you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to get that gun. You're not outbidding me, right? And you start thinking in this competitive manner. That's where they get you.
To
But
me,
if you think of nothing but investment wise, like, okay, I'm topping that gun at this certain price, and that's it. No matter what, I'm stopping right there. then you're okay.
To me, it didn't have anything to do with that other than the fact of like that you catch some of these weird oddball things that you're like, I'll probably never see one of those for sale ever again in my whole life. Oh my God, I want to get that now. You know, when I had my 8mm, I started reloading for it. I was on a kick for a while where I really wanted to buy a Remington 700 Classic. And what they did was Remington chambered some 700s in like oddball calibers, and they did one an 8mm Mauser, and I really want one. I'd really love to have one because you don't see 8mm Mauser in an American gun. It just doesn't happen. So I've really always been fascinated with that, and they're it was either the first or the second auction I did, and I pulled up and I started looking through. They had one in the box, and it was like a guy that just had tons and tons of stuff in a box, and like never fired, never taken out of the boxes, like a real crazy collector, you know. And I was like, holy shit, they have one, and and it said Remington Classic 8mm, and I was like, oh my God, like what are the odds that an hour away in Pennsylvania there's an auction right now, or, in like 2 days that they're going to have one of these things. And man, I wanted to go so bad and buy that thing. Yeah, it's a cool gun. It's neat. It'd be neat to have. I'd really like to have one. And they were really nice too, nice wood stocks. Like they did a good job. I'd heard they were gonna maybe, well, this is a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago or so, before Remington started having a lot of troubles again. I had heard that they were going to start doing another one. They were going to do one or two more in some oddball caliber. I don't remember what it was. And I think they scrapped the idea when they started having financial trouble. Pink said, yeah, he's going to, he can't post links. Oh, well, here, I'll make you a mod quick. There you go.
Yeah, 790 to 830 on the K6S, depending on whether you want two-tone or whether you want the wood grips or not.
So we'll say $800.
Yep.
Somebody's damn grandma won an $800 pistol revolver. That's cool. Good for them, man. I mean, it's he was there to drink cheap. He's like, oh, it's awesome. I go to the Legion and put $20 on the counter and get wasted. It's like drinks for like $4.
Yeah, it's the same way with the Elks too. Elks is like that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's see what they got here. Pink put that up there.
I think I'm gonna head out, guys.
All right.
Catch you later.
Outside for the
lake.
No, I'm gonna head to bed.
On a boat.
The fish are already sleeping, so I'm gonna go to my bed.
Take that duffel bag of guns with you and go out there and clean them.
Yep.
It's probably a water bag.
I heard a hammock on a boat is in the future.
All right. So this is an online auction. Jagger Auctioneers. Glock 19. Doesn't say if it's used or not. 375. Walther P99. 335. Let's see if there's anything weird in here. Ooh, Walther P38. 2 mags, cleaning rod, manual, and original box. $435.
That's what they sold for, or that's what the
Yeah, that's what it sold for.
Okay, you're watching ended ones.
Really? Oh shit! Somebody walked away with a steal on that one. Wow!
Yeah, how about it, man? You guys can see this, right? Look at that. I mean, that thing looks awesome. And the damn box is like...
Now the ultimate question is, did it have German markings? That's the ultimate question.
No, that's a Walther.
P-38.
Yeah, but during the war, right? They made them, and
Yes, they did.
That's
But
freaking.
would they have had that box and everything though with the German kind? I guess
No,
they still did
that's
that.
definitely after. That's definitely after war. That's like a reproduction, but like in the 80s.
I'm not looking at it, so I didn't
Yeah.
see the.
That's probably like
Holy cow.
70s or 80s or so. That's definitely not a World War II.
Okay,
Look at
that's
that
not too
thing is-
bad then for 400 then.
It's Megatron, man. It's freaking Megatron. All right. Well, that's why. See, that's why you don't do this. 225. Let's see what else. Man, I can't believe that's awesome that they had one there. Somebody snagged that for $435. PPK. There's another one.
PPKs, that used to be my
P38.
backup gun for a long time.
Now this one looks. This one went for a little bit more. This one's older for sure because you can tell by the grips it's a lot older. It has those straight louvered, I don't know what you say, straight grips there. 465. Wow. It's not in as good shape, but you can tell it's much older.
None of the surplus ones I've never seen come in a box. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen.
Yeah.
It possibly came in a box, right? But it would look like some kind of like cardboard, like bare minimum, just to keep track of inventory somewhere, and it would
Right.
be like thrown
Yeah,
away.
it'd be like a
Yeah, it wasn't commercial.
cardboard white box. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that
Yeah.
one's probably that one inner arms. That one is probably from like the 50s or 60s or something like that one is. You know, like
Yeah, it looks old, definitely. I'll tell you what though, man. For $465, that's something you wouldn't come across again. I think you gotta buy that thing, if you have the chance. I feel like that's a really good deal. Now, whether it is to a collector, I don't know, but in 1903,
the only thing that
went for
matters is your collection, is you as you.
That's
That's what
what
you
I'm.
want, right? And the reason.
Absolutely, and you're 100% right. Like to somebody else, they're like, "Oh, that's okay," but to me, it'd be like just to have the ability to get it. Hell yeah! I mean, snag that thing. There's a 1903 that went for $825. Some Mauser.
Oh, how much did that K31 go for?
$665.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a 7mm Mauser Venezuelan for $400. That was a training rifle. Enfield, 1910. Enfield 4. Oh, it's thought to be a 22 training rifle. That's pretty cool. Sweden AG-42B Lungman semi-auto rifle in 6.5 by 55. Is 6x5? That's not. Oh, that's 6.5 karat cal, right? That's different, I guess. Because that would be.
Talk about an oddball caliber.
Yeah, that went for almost $1,000. It's interesting looking. HK MP522. Remington 12 gauge. BSA model 1222 target rifle. SMLE. Very cool. Number MK1 jungle carbine. 303 British. Mauser 98 with Arabic markings. That's pretty cool. Found its way over there somewhere. Model 60, 9 days of Mosin. Model 9130 rifle, 762 by 54. 325. It's a good shape. It's really nice. Nice stock. Felt like got a lot of like grain to it. Looks pretty. Browning high power, 590. Here's an old Astra, 1921, 9mm Largo semi-auto, $210.
How much did that Browning high power go for?
590. Pretty
You picked
high.
Up a,
Seems
picked up
high.
yeah. Well, no, because the Browning high powers are no longer in existence, which means
Right, they
whatever you got is what got. Yeah, they discontinued them, so that'll be worth over $1,000 come another year, maybe, if it takes that long.
Here's an FN Herstall 32 semi-auto. I just was watching like a documentary or something on somebody that was shot by that type of gun. I can't remember who it was.
That was the.
Oh no, wait, wasn't it?
That was the question they had on for the
during
president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copyrighted.
Oh, sorry.
PayPal, $20. Operation.
Oh shit, my bad. There's another Mosin. Let's see what else. P83, Walther, bunch of. This guy was really into. There's a cool gun. Husqvarna Lottie M40, 9mm. Check this thing out. Kind of Lugerish. I guess that's the cocking handle on the back, huh?
Yeah, that's almost like the Luger cocking, except it doesn't go up, it comes straight back. The charging handle.
Yeah, charging handle, not cocking handle. 675. Pretty cool.
Super expensive, no?
I don't know. Who knows? Argentina, 1927. SIST Colt. What does SIST stand for? Anybody know?
It has assist.
Yeah.
Single something trigger. Single something stage trigger. Maybe.
So now, okay. So it says Argentina 1927 Colt.
Sister is maybe because it says Argentina, so it's like
So
like Colt. That's like when Colt probably actually owned that factory and they were actually pumping out guns for the war. But it's an
Maybe.
Argentinian Colt, right? So
maybe, yeah, that makes sense. That would
I think the SIS stands for sister, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
So
it's Cistern. That's the manufacturing plant, and I guess they were done listed here. Produced for the Argentine police.
So when it says 1927, is it like a 1927 pattern gun or made in 1927?
Mode 1927. So that's the year.
Oh, okay, so it's not that old. It's just that's the model, kind of.
Yeah, it's a caliber 11.25 mode 1927 45 ACP. That's one of 100,000 produced.
Oh wow, cool. Oh, that's pretty rare then. JP Sauer and Sohn. Here's a Makarov, $280. Another Mac. Return of the Mac.
Well, let's see. The first one.
Here's another
6.5
by 55.
The first one was a Polish one, wasn't it? The first one was a Polish Mac, and the other one's a German Mac, right? Scroll back up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. The nylon 66. That's cool. $180. Those are pretty neat. Walter P5, Enfield, a couple Enfields. There's a whoa! Look at this
Yeah, whoever this was,
SVT40 semi-auto.
liked a lot of old stuff.
Look at this. Mosin Nagant, 1942 SVT40 semi-auto rifle, 7.6 by 54R. So it's a semi-auto with a rimmed case. Isn't that unusual?
No, that's what I'm checking off for and stuff. So, no.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that's true.
Usual
Yeah.
for a big rifle. When it's a littler gun, it gets to be more complicated. It must not be that complicated on big guns because there's all kinds of magazine-fed lever guns and stuff that have rims. Right?
Yeah, that's true. Look at that muzzle
But it's
brake
also
on there.
tapered. You never seen an SVT?
No, I guess not.
Imagine an SKS, but longer, quite a bit longer, like noticeably longer, and semi-auto. Well, semi-auto detachable mag shooting 54R. So it's kind of, well, I would almost say hybrid between, well, it's AK-ish, but it feels more like an SKS because they're pretty sloppy.
Yeah.
But they made very few of them, and they were almost prototype level. Like they're very fragile.
Yeah, my stepson has one of those, and I mean, that thing. He doesn't take it out very often, but we went out and shot that. That thing's like butter, and there's like no recoil.
Yeah, really. But they also recoil their parts off it, right? I've seen ones that like recoil the top handguard off. They never got developed. They were too big of it.
It was $1,500 it went for us.
It's like a semi-auto Nagant, basically. So it's as if they went Nagant, and then they were like, now what do we do? So they created a 7.62 by 39 and went, all right, SKS. And then they're like, well, we got these other bullets. Okay, SVT. And they're like, oh, that's way too big a bullet for semi-auto. And then they're like, how about this SKS? Well, it's shitty. Let's go AK-47. And then that worked. And I also think they pit their design crews against each other a little bit. Like, well, they're both going to develop it, and whoever comes up with a better one wins and will be better for the country or whatever.
This is a cool gun, man. I am not good at apparently not good at judging like values of guns because I feel like a lot of these I would have thought they went for more than they did. You know.
Well, I got some guns I'll sell you, and we can help you learn judging guns.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to sell them to me for free. That's okay.
So in other words, you're looking for a channel donation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Makarovs. And then all this shit, and then M&P 40. Oh, this is brand new. Springfield Armory XDE 45 for $420. I feel like that's not a great deal. M&P 40 Shield, $375. That's not a great deal either.
Yeah, you can for what $20 more, you can pick up a brand new one.
This one is new, but still, I mean, I feel like I don't. That's weird. I mean, I would have thought like if you. I mean, I guess it's worth it to do it, but it's not like, oh, that's a steal, you know, $375.
And in actuality, if you get it, if you do it right, and you get it on a Smith & Wesson rebate, you actually overpaid for it because you could pick them up for like $3.25.
Yeah.
Plus you get an extra mag or two.
Yeah. That's it. There was 103. PX4F.
Is that the one from Pink, or is that some other one you were looking at?
No, this is the one Pink sent. Yeah, he put it in the chat.
Was that it was the PX4 Storm?
I have an idea of what he was bidding on.
I don't know.
What do you think he was bidding on?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what Pink's into. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a thing. He basically told you when he said the price point. Because there wasn't that many guns at that price point, right?
Kinky says, buy me a C96 Mauser. No thanks. All right. Well, that was cool. That was kind of neat to look at for sure. It's weird they started and ended with like modern new guns. It was kind of weird. Like you start out with a Glock and a Walthers, a couple of new Walthers, and then into the old stuff. Excuse me. Couldn't get to the
Bless
mute
you.
button fast enough. Thanks. All right. And we're back. You should go to Andrew Yang's website, sign up for the UBI benefit, and then if you win, spend $1,000 a month on guns for a year. There you go. They said it could change somebody's life. Yeah.
You sign up
Swedish
to qualify, or you sign up and it's just a random drawing? Like, or does he pick like the perfect people?
I don't know. He brought it up. I mean, during the debates. All right. Scanning out there, see what's going on now with boxes.
Everybody gone?
Yeah, I'm getting there. He's doing a lottery for 10 families. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Getting late. I did like looking through that. That was fun. We should do that. Should do that once. I should do that every week. Find a cool auction and work through, see what they're selling. That's kind of fun. See what's out there. All right. You guys got anything to talk about? Anything you want to talk about? And if not, we'll call it a night.
Doesn't look like it.
No, it's okay. So
Family. If you can't tell me what a family is, you can tell me what a family unit is. That's discrimination against me.
That's true.
Family
That's
unit.
true. So go check out Bloke's channel. Okay. Help out a kid. Do what you can and you get a chance to win something awesome, but you should do it anyway. Honestly. I mean, it's it's take care of somebody, to help somebody out. Let's do what we can. I don't know how they I don't know how they're doing as far as money wise, but hopefully it's helping. I'm sure they appreciate it. I think if we went over there and gave as much as we can and promote it. If you haven't, I haven't done a video on it. I've talked about it on the show a bunch of times, and I've had Bloke on and talk about it. But I do need to knock out a video for it. Very prone to breaking. It took 2 years to get a new spring. Damn. That's how it was. My 8mm. I gave up on trying to get parts for it. They just don't exist. Also the 24th and the 25th in Harrisburg, 2 rallies basically. They're proposing some laws, and we need to get some people down and get some asses in the seats. so they're not out there looking over top of a bunch of moms demanding action, and they're looking over a bunch of us.
Did they the guy's name that I sent you, did they ever get a hold of him?
Shoot, no. Shit. No, I totally forgot about that. Did you email that to me?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I think
Okay, then I
did.
still have it. I still have it. I'll look then. No, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, so the 24th is a Tuesday, I believe, and that's the early day. It's from like 9 to 11. Wednesday's a little later in the afternoon. I'm sorry, I think it starts at noon and goes till the early afternoon. But let me know if you're coming. So, keep an eye out for you, look for you, meet up. I'm going to go super early, especially on Tuesday. I think it's 9 or 9:30. I want to be there. I'm going to try and be there like an hour before that. We got to take up some space inside, so we're represented. And just be there and show that we give a shit. So if you can make it, please do. And if you can make it for sure, like I said, let me know so we can meet up. Glimtech, My Little Pony, G. If you guys don't have anything else, we're gonna knock it off here.
Nope.
Individual freedom and liberty.
That's it. Check out gunchannels.com. Check out your websites. Help G stay on the road, feeding the pup. And until next time.
I don't feed that pup no more. It saves money.
Oh, you feed him golf? Well, I mean, you gotta, but yeah, because you're finding golf balls.
No, I'm going to sell those golf balls. I'm not feeding her. I'm not wasting my golf balls on that dog. She can eat grass when she goes out to go potty.
Well, yeah. You got tumbleweeds too, right?
She finds whatever. You know how dogs, they're ambidextrous or whatever.
Ambidextrous. That means they eat with all their hands. Yeah, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Well, that's good. She'll lean up a little bit. She'll be lean and mean.
Now Russ is out there freaking out.
Russ, he's going to be coming and stealing another dog from you pretty soon. The way it sounds.
Oh, I already got arrangements. I'll tell you off air. I got some money be made here with the arrangement from California.
Oh, good. All right. So I'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Take it easy. Have a good night. Bye.
Have a good night. See ya.
See ya.
Toodles.
Toodles.